Tour Guides. I'm Carrie.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Bree.
Today we are taking you on a tour of Philadelphia.
Whoop whoop. Hometown.
I'm gonna let Catherine take it away.
Yeah.
Guys, it's my homeland. So I wasn't born exactly in Philly. I'm from right outside of Philly, Lehigh Valley. So those of you from the area know where the valley is. But I have family in Allentown, in Pottsboro, in literally every single place outside of Philly. I have a relative there. We just like circle around. And I have cousins who are in the city as well. I have Temple and I have Penn relatives. So they're at school studying in actual Philadelphia. So like we're all over the place all the time. And it is still where I identify home, even though I have lived in Texas longer officially this year. So guys, we are camping out. I move in a week. And so we are camping out on our bed with my essential oils little desk as our microphone stand. And our pictures are all on paper plates because we packed all of our real plates.
Yep.
But that's okay because you know what? Home is where the heart is. And Philly is my home. And so I can use paper products.
My heart is in this drink.
Oh my god, it's so good.
It is good.
And it's a wallop.
I'm just gonna go ahead and segue into it.
Yeah, it's a
'cause,
wallop. So
it's a lot. And so I first found this drink in my book, Around the World in 80 Cocktails. And then I found it also on one of my other saved resources that was, well, I'll get to it later. I'm not going to search through my notes for it right now.
My dog's trying to steal your drink.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's a delicious drink. And Nita's like, yeah, this is awesome. Okay. So, it also wins as my most expensive drink for this because I had to buy 3 different specialty types of alcohol.
it's also my favorite one, though.
I'll make it again.
It's my
For
favorite
us.
drink we've had. So.
God, Catherine, you're so expensive.
Gosh,
Normally
quit
not.
being so bougie.
I don't care. I love this.
Okay, so in 1732, the Schuylkill Fishing Company, also known as the State in Schuylkill, signed a treaty with
Thank you for saying that word right.
You're welcome. I searched it because I was like, I'm not gonna say this wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of words. So the weird thing about this area, it's like a third German, a third like English, like from England, random Polish and Italian words, and then like 75% Native American from different Native American and Indian groups. So there's all sorts of weird names that people do not expect.
Yeah, so it's spelled Schuyllkill, and it's pronounced Schuylkill.
Yes, it is.
But they signed a treaty with the indigenous Lenape tribe, which secured land and fishing rights along the banks of the Schuylkill River. In 1838, there's Nita. Nita is not from 1738.
Actually, she
might
probably
be.
is. She's real. She's real old. She may be.
Are you that old, baby? Yes.
Maybe. I'm like Thackeray Binks from fucking Hocus
Oh my
Pocus.
gosh.
She just gave a little grunt.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She's on the pillow.
Good girl.
Okay, so in 1738, they opened the oldest operating social club where the Fish House Punch, which is what we are drinking, was the signature drink.
So this drink is like old timey.
It is.
This is older than America, old timey.
We're getting there.
Bruh.
So, the state in Schuylkill had its, quote, citizens, all of them fishermen, who liked their drinks made strong.
Yeah.
Legend has it that George Washington visited while presiding over the creation of the Constitution, had a glass or two of Fish House Punch, and apparently it was so strong that he did not write in his diary for the following 3 days.
I love how that is how they measure how strong the drinks were. Like, George didn't write in his diary for 3 days, guys.
George didn't post on Twitter for 3 days. He was so hungover.
I feel like that's our modern day Trump. Trump didn't tweet for like
Honestly.
3 whole hours. So, in honor of George Washington, they still perform. Nita's just getting comfy on the pillows, and it's really making all of us nervous.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so they still perform an 18th century fish tossing ritual and offer a pre-meal toast to him. So, George, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like toast, like you eat it. And then I realized when you looked at your cup.
Where's that glass?
Freedom.
So, guys, the references actually make sense.
Well, and I wanted to like introduce that with "Eyes up,
But he can't because he's hungover from Fish House.
Exactly. You stole my joke.
Did I really? Oh my god, we're so funny.
However, okay. So he had a glass or two, but apparently these glasses were also very large.
Like tankards.
Yeah, because William Black had this quote from a visit that he had in 1744. He said he was greeted, quote, with a bowl of fine lemon punch big enough to have swimmed half a dozen of young geese, end quote.
Okay.
Okay,
So
but they're
6
also drama queens.
Yeah, but 6 Gosling. But honestly, I could
Like-
drink that much of this.
It's so good.
It
Well,
is
that's how much
so
it's supposed
good.
to make. I only made half of the original recipe, and it's still a lot. So, get ready, y'all. Okay, so by 1885, it was famous for being a potent punch. There's a little doggerel about it.
Sorry.
Potent punch.
Potent punch.
You're just whispering potent punch to yourself in the corner. All I can see is like the reflection of your laptop and your glasses. Is so scary.
We're not to the spooky part yet. We're on the
Yay.
fun part. Okay, so it says, there's a little place just out of town where if you go to lunch, they'll make you forget your mother-in-law with a drink called Fish House Punch.
Incredible.
From
people.
my second source, 11 cocktails from around the world that you can make in your home, which this one was not like super easy to make, but it's fine. Quote, the punch is neither for the impatient, the intolerant, nor the ill-provisioned liquor cabinet.
Damn.
Preach.
Yeah, that's why we love it.
Yeah, because we're bougie.
Because it has all of the liquors.
It's so
It only
like
has 3.
it's my favorite flavor combination though. Like
It's
I
good.
love it.
Okay, so the recipe, the full recipe, again, I just halved it because we did not need a 10 serving of this for the 3 of us because we would be drunk
We got work tomorrow.
and we gotta work tomorrow.
Oh.
So it starts with 12 lemons.
Starts with 12 angry men. Sorry guys, I'm back in like full-time teaching mode.
450 grams or 1 pound of sugar. 12 ounces of lemon juice, which you just juice the 12 lemons to get said juice. 24 ounces of dark rum. 12 ounces of cognac. 12 ounces of peach brandy. 4 cups of chilled water. And then you will garnish with lemon wheels and nutmeg. So the instructions, prepare an oculo sacrum, which is the peels of the lemon dissolved in, I'm sorry. It helps if I just read and not try to like go based off what I did because I forget things. Okay.
It's hard
It's-
getting old.
I know. My brain is tired.
As I lay here with the heating pad.
So, an oleo sacrum is a syrup of sugar dissolved in aromatic citrus oils. So
Ugh.
you peel the 12 lemons in little patches. So you want to avoid the pith that's in it. And so you want to just get the skin that's around where all of the oils are. And then you muddle it all together. And so that way the sugar is wet with the oil of the lemon.
Mm.
Yeah. I got pictures of it too.
Ooh.
You let it sit for an hour or more. I let it sit for about 2.5 hours because I was busy doing other things like my job.
Sure.
Whoops. I was home. That's fine.
No scurvy for us.
Nope. And then you put the oleo sacrum in a large punch bowl and add the lemon juice. So I did it out of the order that they initially said. In the recipe, it said to remove the lemon peels beforehand, but my lemon peels still had a lot of sugar on them, and I wanted to keep that sugar. And so I waited until after I poured in the lemon juice to take out the lemon peels. But then you dissolve the sugar in the lemon juice. Nita is licking the plate that the mic is on.
It's okay.
Yeah. And then you add in the dark rum, cognac, and peach brandy and dilute it with chilled water. Smelling it as it was being poured, I was like getting residual high from the alcohol that was just fuming into my face.
Oh, it's so good.
And then, yeah. And then you place a large block of solid ice in the punch bowl to keep its contents chilled. Garnish each glass with a lemon wheel and grated nutmeg. So I was gonna do, like, if I were to make this for, like, our Friendsgiving,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably
Thanksgiving gonna be lit this year.
Oh, yeah, it is. I'd probably get, like, a little button pan, ice it up, and get it in our punch bowl.
Oh, so good. It's my favorite one that we've had.
It's pretty bougie. I like it.
Well, it's like, so peach and lemon are like 2 of my absolute favorite flavors for anything. And I really do love nutmeg, and like I love those like spices, but I hate allspice. And so a lot of times nutmeg and allspice are together.
Yeah.
And so this is just like, oh, it's so good. I love it. My whole glass is gone. I'm ready for round 2.
Round 2's gonna come in a little bit because it's
After cake.
Yeah.
Guys, I went a little bit overboard, so like I got done with work and I've been cooking since then. So this is the food of my childhood and I was very excited to share. So of course we're in Philly. There is an abundance of delicious foods in Philly, let me tell you. But I decided to go with the classic, and so I made cheese steaks, which I had to look for like a Steakums, which is like the cheap at home quick version. And they were like $12 or something ridiculous here, as opposed to it being like 30 cents at home or something crazy. So cheesesteaks are a Philly classic. It's really finely shredded beef that's cooked all the way through, served on like a toasted hoagie roll with either American cheese or provolone. And there's a hotly contested debate on whether you use Cheese Whiz or not. There's also, you can do pickles, you can do onions, you could do peppers, you could do marinara sauce. You could also make it a cheesesteak hoagie if you wanted to add lettuce and tomatoes. There's an abundance of way to have a cheesesteak. There's not one wrong or right way. I did American cheese, Cheese Whiz, ketchup, and onions and peppers if you wanted it. And they were pretty darn tasty.
They were so good.
Yeah, I just had a ton of them. So I actually prefer chicken cheesesteaks, which are generally accepted as much as regular cheesesteaks now. But they're just a little bit less fatty. But I could not shred the chicken in a way that was going to be appropriate. Because like the texture is like super important. So it's really not fatty. And it's well done beef, but it's shredded so finely that there's no like fatty or stringy bits. And then I made pierogies 2 different ways, which pierogies are technically Polish.
Oh, good.
But they are a staple in Philly household. My Nana, I grew up eating them. So they're basically kind of like Polish ravioli, but they're filled with potato and cheese and onion. That's a traditional
best
one.
way to do ravioli, I mean.
I mean, potatoes and anything. And
Yes,
so,
Potatoes and cheese.
so if you go to Yakko's Hot Dogs, which is like super Pennsylvania, they deep fry them, but I fried some in olive oil, and then I sauteed in butter and diced onions. So I did it 2 different ways, and then I did crinkle cut fries, which both pierogies and crinkle cut fries are traditional size for cheesesteaks. And then I made a tandy cake. I made a homemade gluten-free tandy cake.
I'm so excited to try it.
So tandy cake is a yellow butter cake with a layer of peanut butter and then a layer of melted chocolate.
Peanut butter and chocolate is probably my favorite.
The chocolate gets hard, so it's like a magic like shell fudgy consistency, so there's not an icing on it.
It's like a scotcheroo kind of, but without like the butterscotch.
What the hell is a scotcheroo?
Never mind.
You're telling us.
Delicious and so bad
Is
for
it the
you.
Iowa tandy cake?
Probably.
But it's more like a crispy. Like a Rice Krispie, but it's not like the light. It's compact. It is dense. So it's kind of more like tandy cake in that way, but it's used with like Rice Krispies. But it's peanut butter and chocolate on top, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, well, peanut butter and chocolate is like my favorite combination, and I don't like icing, so this cake has always been like super important. And so there is a company that they started selling here now called Tasty Cakes, which makes a tandy cake, like a small version called Candy Cakes. And, well, also, I get the names wrong all the time, so they could also be called tandy cakes, and here's my issue. So they have something called butterscotch crumpets. I still can't remember which one's right. But they're like little, like, sponge cakes with butterscotch icing, like a thin layer. But literally, little Catherine grew up eating them because my great uncle, John, was a Tasty Cake driver growing up. So, like, I've had Tasty Cakes my entire life, but I literally still can't remember what all of them are called because I was so little when I started eating them that I always said the names wrong, and now I don't know what's right and what's wrong, and I'm too embarrassed to, like, Google it, so I just say whatever comes to mind. But there's, like, Juniors, they have coffee cakes, but it's, like, a really, like, Pennsylvania, like, there's a ton of companies, like, Yingling Beer, Utz Pretzels.
Yep, my dad is obsessed with Yingling Beer.
Yeah, it's brewed right outside of Philly.
Yeah, so I mentioned before my family's from Kentucky, and so we go up there usually just for Christmas now. We got too busy to go twice a year. And my dad, on Sunday mornings, as we were driving out, it would be like afternoon. Mm-hmm. And as we would, not Sundays, they don't sell on Sundays, because...
Texas?
No, because conservative Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky?
Because they didn't sell it in Texas for the longest time, so we had to either get it in Kentucky, Tennessee, and now they're starting to sell it in Arkansas. But he would have to wait until like the very end of his trip and make a special trip to Walmart to go get his Yingling and bring it back.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. It's like a lager.
Yeah.
But also there's like,
we secretly had it at our wedding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't on like the actual menu for the bar, but there may have been a stash behind the bar.
Nice. I also, if I had time, I would have found birch beer. I could not find any. I looked. Birch beer is like root beer, only better. It's made from birch bark, and it's delicious. And they used to they make it in kegs, like traditionally. And so at like carnivals and stuff, you tap a keg. It's not alcoholic. Yeah. It's a soda, but it's so good. And I would have made whoopie pies, or anything like Pennsylvania Dutch, tomato pie. Like there's so many foods, and I am very well versed in them because it's where I grew up. So I had to pick just a couple. I could talk about it for days and days and days. Shout out to Turkey Hill Iced Tea. Shout out to anything from Sheetz or Wawa. So yeah, those are both gas stations, but they'll change your life. And also shout out to Hershey's chocolate, which is from Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is only a couple hours outside of Philly. And the town is adorable, and the lamps are made, like the street lamps are made to look like Hershey Kisses. So there's a brief overview of Pennsylvania food, but I could literally go on for days and days about like shoe fly pie and oh my gosh.
So I just searched Tasty Cake, and I didn't realize that cake wasn't spelled with a C.
Oh, it's with a K.
It was spelled with a K.
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
Yep.
At some point, we're gonna have to do hometowns, Carrie. Except like not for me, not like actual hometown, because
what's a city in Iowa?
So Crimpets is your
dick.
You could do Clinton. Ooh.
Okay.
We already did.
We are not a city.
It's true.
We're not a city. We're a factory town. Anyway,
candy cakes.
I
can't click on it.
Which are tandy cakes, but
they look so good. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Tasty Cakes. Sponsor. Okay, so I literally could talk about the food for forever.
Stuff.
What do you guys think?
Oh,
I cannot wait to try this cake.
Okay, there's a reason I'm sitting this way. So my belly has room to expand.
Yeah.
And I can unbutton my pants at some point if I need to.
Oh, there's a reason I never come in pants that have to be buttoned. I always come in my jammies.
From work.
Oh yeah, well, like I worked out before this because I knew that we were going to be eating a lot, and I was like, if I have to work out just because I know if I don't.
Oh, I'm also repping my Vegan Treats shirt, which is from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is about, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes outside of Philly, and it's a vegan bakery that's really delicious, so I'm representing a shirt from them.
Nice.
Rock on.
Yep.
Are we ready for cake right now?
I'm so ready for cake, even though I'm about to die.
Let's get cake.
Let's
and
cake
then
and get more
drinks,
alcohol.
and then we'll do our segments. Easter box. Easter box.
All right. We now have cake and refill.
Okay.
And Bree's enjoying her cake. Damn, this is good.
Isn't it amazing?
And guys, just get to listen to us eat real quick.
It's a really good cake.
It's just such a classic combination. Sorry, I'm definitely talking with my mouth full.
Whatever. I can't
I'm
see
just
you.
really proud of the actual cake because for gluten-free, the texture is pretty good.
It's good.
And Danny agreed with me, listeners, that it tasted like a scotcheroo.
We just don't know what it is.
Colin has a very good friend named Danny who is so handy, and Colin keeps breaking stuff. So Danny keeps coming over, and he'll fix all of our stuff, and we just give him, like, cake and stuff. So, it's a really good trade-off
That
for
sounds
us.
like the intro to a really bad porno.
Hey, Danny.
Oh, God, please stop.
Please stop. Please stop. You see me laugh? I, can't even pretend.
Danny, we're
It's the
sorry.
damn door, and I'll give you a piece of cake.
We're sorry, Danny. We're sorry.
It's fine.
All right. This is my section,
Mm.
I think. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
We're here?
Yep.
I'm just thoroughly enjoying my cake.
I know, I'm waiting until I'm done with my section so I can, because my mouth is currently, salivating, real hard, so I'm trying to talk. Stop nudging me! I will pet you! God. Okay, so Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Oh, I'm gonna scooch right by ya.
Hope I'm gonna squeeze right past you quick. Means the city of brotherly love.
Hey-o.
Yep. Originally settled by Native American tribes, like Carrie said, the Lenape, around 8000 BC, so old as fuck.
It's so haunted. I love it.
Amazing. I have so many, like, hella creepy lore stories. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading this shit and I'm like, I don't want to read this because it was like, you know, I don't have time until it's like right before I go to bed, and I'm like, oh fuck no.
Well, and what's so cool about the Northeast, and like especially Philadelphia, is that there are distinct. So like some people from the like other areas are like, why are your neighborhoods so segregated? And to us, we don't see it as a negative kind of segregation. For us, it's like embracing your own culture within a more diverse culture. So like we would go to the Polish neighborhood or to the German neighborhood or to the Italian neighborhood, and food is like the way that we all connect with one another. And I'm not saying it's a perfect city. I'm not saying there's not prejudice, because there certainly is. Like my dad grew up getting called Guido and everything like that, which like, you know what I mean? Like it's different, but like I didn't even know that word was derogatory.
Yeah.
Until much later in life, because it was just so common. I didn't know. You know what I mean? So it's super interesting. And like, you know, my family are from like the Irish section and from the Italian sections, which they're neighboring sections because they both go to the Catholic churches, but they're not, it's not the same. So like there are diverse and there are still prejudices and things, but like I feel like the neighborhoods are really celebrated. It's not so much trying to make everyone the same. And like we have a huge like Puerto Rican population. And so, like, you know, it's different. A huge Jewish population. And, like, oh my God. So excited when we do an episode that I can really focus on Jewish food. Like, I think when we do New York, I'm going to do Jewish food. Like, delicatessen food, because it's just so good. And, like, it's just a neat way for people. And, like, we have a lot of culture, even though it is separated like that.
I'm going to get matzah. I fucking love matzah.
I know. It's so good.
Oh.
And I'm gonna make like black and white cookies and
yeah.
But yeah, so it's I don't know. I get very nostalgic and very homesick because I love it so much. And I don't know what we were talking about because
That's okay.
I'm 6 goslings into my vision.
Speaking of diversity, there were Swedish, Dutch, and
English
merchants.
I was talking about. The different neighborhoods.
Yes.
I got it.
Merchants that set up. Oh, I hadn't even gotten there yet, so you gave me a nice transition.
Perfect.
But yeah, merchants that set up trading posts in or around the Delaware Valley by the early 1600s. Charles II granted William Penn a charter in 1681 for the colony of Pennsylvania. So, interesting fact, the King's Highway was created because King Charles wanted to connect Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah, I said that right. Okay, to Boston, Massachusetts, and originally the path was tread by the indigenous peoples, and then like the Lenape tribe, and then the white men, of course, made it into like an actual like highway road and shit so that they could navigate it because they were sick of their horse-drawn carriages getting caught up in the roots and whatnot.
Were the
So
Lenape?
destroy
Yep.
gorgeous ancient forest.
Were the Lenape talked about in Outlander?
They were a pretty prominent North American tribe.
That's what I was
on
asking.
the East Coast.
'Cause I just can't remember.
Well, because
I don't know if they mentioned them specifically, but because
No, it was the Mohawk tribe. Okay.
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
took me a
bigger
second.
tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, I knew that they talked really heavily about a tribe.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know that they actually mentioned that one, but I know that
There may have been 2 that they were talking about because one was more peaceful than the other.
Yeah. Okay.
The Mohawk were not super peaceful.
Oh no, it wasn't. We know that was them.
No.
But the King's Highway, so that would be how they rendezvoused with Rochambeau in Hamilton.
Hey! Oh my God, it's red coats, what the blood stains.
So good. Okay. She just bit me! Little fucker! She looks up.
Nita.
Okay.
She's like, pet me, bitch.
I know! I'm trying to do something for fuck's sake.
Nita.
The sad thing is I'm petting her, just not where and how she wants, and so she's... Anyway.
So good.
So Penn signed a peace treaty with the chief of the Lenape tribe, Tamenend. Penn was a Quaker pacifist, so you can imagine how well the ship Isabella that made port in Philly in 1684 with a shit ton of African slaves went over. There were rising tensions over slavery, led to the Germantown petition against slavery in 1688. And this was the first organized protest against slavery in the colonies.
Love my state. Even the terrible things.
They were talking, so I was reading an article, and they're like, most Philadelphians will, like, they're not necessarily fans of Philadelphia, or they're, like, trash talking or something. But, if you are an outsider, you better not trash talk it. And,
it's a shithole.
You will never not be an outsider.
It's a shithole, but it's our shithole.
I get it.
It's like Texas.
I get it.
Like, here we're like, Texas sucks. And then I go up to Kentucky and I was like, Texas, y'all!
Right.
Well, it's just too hot.
It's
too hot! That's my thing. When we were up there visiting family, and there's so much history up there. Like, when we went, even though everything was closed, we, may or may not have broke into the Gettysburg National Park so I could take a selfie with Abraham Lincoln's statue.
I would 100% do that.
But, it's just, there's so much history there. Here, all of the history was destroyed, and we talked about that in Dallas, and, it's such a bummer. We have the Alamo, and that's it.
Well, and that's why I mentioned at the beginning of the episode in Dallas, I was like, I really thought I was going to have a hard time, and, I did, but I didn't. So the information was there. It's just, none of
for us
shit is
to
there,
visit.
anymore. Yeah. But speaking of breaking into places, when I visited Athens, I almost broke into / may have broken into part of the the big theater thing, whatchamacallits with the tiered bits. Words are hard. Thank you.
I was really enjoying you, watching you.
I know this word.
I've broken into a lot of places by accident when I travel.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I'm normally so in awe of wherever I'm breaking in. The security guards that see me, they're like, "Oh, she's a genuine tourist who's about to cry because she's looking at this old temple."
I broke in so I could sing.
Oh, I sang in it too. But I talked to a guy there, and I was like, "Can you just silence everyone so I can sing?" He was like, "Yeah."
I did at the Paris Opera House.
Yeah.
It was also 11 o'clock at night, and there was no one around, and it was a little sketch ball.
If you ask people,
there was no one to ask.
Oh, I do stuff all the time places because most of the time the security guards, if you're gonna be a security guard at a historical site, a lot of times you have to care about the historical site because it is not an easy job.
Yeah.
And they do not get paid enough. So I feel like a lot of people, are, retired, veterans and history people and, people who, care about this area.
Yeah.
Not all the time, of course, but a lot of them, care about the area that they're, protecting. So they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to Pennsylvania, they just redid Liberty Hall and the Constitution Center. So cool. And I've been fortunate enough to go. I meant my entire childhood, but also to the new one. And I took a picture. I love taking selfies with statues. I have one on George Washington's lap from the Dallas Arboretum, but I took one with Alexander Hamilton when I'm holding his hand, I'm arm in arm with him, and it was one of the pictures I used to get Colin to fall in love with me. It was on my dating app. It was that, and then a picture of me in my Ravenclaw scarf. About platform 9 3/4, and one of me crying as I go into the TARDIS in Wales. So, got me a keeper.
Yeah.
So, Independence. Stop, dog. I'm trying to do something.
She is cantankerous this evening.
So, Independence Hall at the time, the Pennsylvania State House, had its first assembly meeting in 1735. Continental Congress convened in 1774 following the Tax Acts that passed by the British in the 60s. So, Stamp Act,
Yeah.
The Philadelphians heard the Declaration of Independence read aloud first in the yard of the State House.
It's beautiful. It's still there.
First U.S. Mint and the first bank.
The Declaration of Independence.
Guys, I love that movie. I love that movie so much. And people are like, really? I'm like, I love that movie. It's my dream. My dream is to be Riley in those movies, okay? This car smells weird. That line used to crack us up. Annie and I would lose it.
Can we watch that movie soon?
Of course, I literally will watch that movie any day.
One day when we don't have work after it, so that way
we'll
we
drink
can
Fish House Punch
drink
and
Fish House
watch
Punch and watch
National Treasure and The Patriot.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Okay, so the first U.S. Mint and the first bank were both founded in Philly, and it's also where the Constitution was written in 1787. Okay. And the Convention. In the summer of 1793, Yeller. Motherfucking hell. Yellow fever spread throughout Philadelphia.
Yellow fever?
Fuck off.
It was bad. Wear your mask. Wash your hands.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of the lines, honestly.
But
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
mosquitoes that spread it. But still.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
well,
so-
okay.
Side
Sorry.
story, just like real quick. Yesterday I was asking my kids, would you rather? And I can't remember how it got on the topic, but one girl was like, I don't remember how it feels to be sick. I was like, oh, go outside without your mask on. You'll feel real sick. And she...
Damn, Carrie, how did you say that? To a 12-year-old.
I was 6th grader, so she's probably 11.
Oh, no!
She thought it was hilarious, and I was like, sorry, you're not going to do well in my class if you don't handle sarcasm, because I'm so sarcastic.
Oh,
Please wear your mask, wash your hands. Don't get into people's bubbles.
Honestly, never get into my fucking bubble.
I know.
Why was that ever a fucking thing? Stay the fuck away.
Right.
Okay. But it took the poor and the rich, young and old, white and black alike, even though they didn't originally think it affected freed blacks the same due to a presumed biological difference due to race. Which was
Assholes.
obviously incorrect. Well, actually, this was one of the guys who was... He was for, like, freeing enslaved,
Okay.
Well,
but, like...
So there
And he was a doctor, but he, like, actually
Well,
thought
there's
this.
actually a gene that a lot of black people of African European descent have that makes them unable to get, like, the plague.
Oh,
So
interesting.
a lot of... and it's most commonly found in black people with descendants who went to Europe through slavery, but
Yeah.
who were originally from Africa,
Because
but
Europe
spent
equals
most
plague.
of their time,
Yeah.
like, their family's roots are in Europe
Yeah.
as black Europeans. And it's like a trait that so many people survived. And I think white people can have it too, but it's more common in black people. And it also disallows you from getting AIDS. And so they've been studying.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they've been studying this. It's like the Alpha 18 or something. I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
it is, but I watched a documentary on it.
Huh.
And it's like a gene that does make you less likely to get certain illnesses.
Good shit.
Fascinating.
I
So
know
he may have
there
been
are...
onto something.
Well,
Yeah.
I think they said that was not true in this case.
Yeah.
I know there are genes that, like, for example, black people have that can allow them to, you know, be immune to certain
Also, like,
diseases.
sickle cell is
Yes,
mostly in
that was
black
the one
people.
I... Yeah.
And, like, there's certain diseases that only affect, like, Anasazi Jews.
Yeah.
descent.
I
Like,
was
there
gonna
do
say,
have
on the
special
other
ones,
hand,
but
yes,
this was probably
uh-huh.
just racism.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't racist.
America.
He helped,
But
like...
there was also that, like, the, like, super powerful black man, like, that, like, weird reverse racist that ended up being racist again.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That explains it better than what I was saying.
Yeah, there was, like, so there was, like, that weird thing where they were trying so hard not to be racist that they ended up being racist again.
Yeah. So, while those rich enough to flee the city did, freed African Americans helped to take care of the city's sick and dying as they suffered from chills, jaundiced skin, fevers, vomit turned black with blood, and
Ooh.
severe stomach pain. So this sounds
The
like
book Fever is so
a
good.
good old time. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that book good?
Yeah.
Read that in elementary school?
Yeah. Okay, so not only did they help care for those suffering, they also took on a large portion of the workload to keep the city running as people were either dying, getting sick, or fleeing left and right. So Hamilton is one of the people who left, along with his family, Eliza and the kids. But both Hamilton and Eliza ended up getting sick anyway, and they sent the kids off with their parents in New York.
Yep.
But they did obviously recover. People suspected the cause of the fever could be linked back to French refugees that had recently made port in Philly after fleeing to enslave rebellion in what is now known as Haiti. But the leading physician treating the fever patients, so he was one of the few doctors that actually stayed behind to help the patients because I guess Hippocratic Oath wasn't a thing, and they were like, I'm afraid of getting sick and, like, dying and shit,
But,
so
like,
I'm gonna peace
also,
out.
there's that weird thing when you don't know what's causing it, and everyone who stays is going to die. It's like, we need doctors to also survive. It's like that
No,
weird
that's
designated
true.
survivor
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's such a weird situation that, like, and, like, we're still facing it. Like, my
Yeah.
sister is risking her life right now
Uh-huh.
working as
Yeah.
in a hospital. Like,
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Oh, no, but this was, like, most of the doctors fled.
Because they had money to leave.
Yeah, and, like, he was one of the very, very few who stayed.
Well, a lot of the ones who stayed probably died, so.
I don't think he did, though. It was Dr. Benjamin Rush. He signed the Declaration of Independence.
I think he's in my story, too.
Cool. Well, I'm almost done with this section,
Yeah,
so
he is.
I shouldn't
What a
overlap
king.
too much.
No, I mean, like, he's very briefly in mine, but there's a little bit of overlap there.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But he thought it had to do with the polluted air and the shitty, unsanitary conditions of Philadelphia.
Told you it's a shithole, but it's our shithole.
But people started pulling a circa 2020 COVID-19. They kept their distance and ceased shaking hands. They covered their faces with their handkerchiefs, which they soaked in smoked tobacco or vinegar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that sounds
They were trying.
horrible. Dr. Rush tried to treat patients the best he could, but he didn't understand this shit any better than anyone else, really.
Yeah.
So he used some rough...
They didn't have not microphones. They didn't have those either. They didn't have microscopes. How are you going to understand things that are too small to see when you can't see them?
Yeah.
Well, he utilized some rough-ass methods to cure people.
The bleeding.
Oh, yeah. Bloodletting. Like, he was
Yeah.
trying his best, but, like, bloodletting, forced emesis, vomiting. Forced vomiting, and mercurial sweating powder.
Ooh.
Yeah. My notes to myself literally said...
Those things are definitely going to kill you faster.
Right?
Oh.
Hamilton, of course, took up his pen to start writing. Okay, to criticize Rush's methods, explaining that his doctor used better, less torturous methods, homeopathic, like drinking Madeira wine and hot brandy. And I'm like, hit me up. I said, I'm here for that prescription.
That just helped numb your pain a little bit while you hoped your fever broke.
Yeah, well, he made them take cold baths and ingest a lot of quinine, apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
as I mentioned before, my grandma considers whiskey as cough syrup, and that's the only alcohol she'll ever have in her home. The alcohol.
The alcohol.
My eyes just rolled so hard.
But no, she'll have her whiskey and honey as her cough syrup. It's
Nice.
medicine.
And I guess it's better than codeine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we're not alcoholics. We're just improving our health.
I'm improving my health. Sure as shit. I'd like to note this method proved little to no more effective than Dr. Rush's. Yellow fever ended up killing around 1/10 of Philly's population at the time, by the time it started dying down. No pun intended. In 1793. So, let's see. William Lloyd Garrison established the American Anti-Slavery Society in Philadelphia.
Hey-o, that comes back later.
Growing to almost 250,000 strong by 1838.
Do you know one of their famous members?
Nope.
Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, I did know that because it was right before that in my notes. Well,
that's pretty much all the information I had on them, because that society plays a role in.
Well, and he's a
my
Philadelphia
story.
man, so.
yeah, in like 1739, I think he started publishing as the publisher in the Gazette or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they took on the bell of the State House as their symbol, thus renaming it the Liberty Bell. In 1876, Susan B. Anthony spoke on the Declaration of the Rights of Women in front of Independence Hall. Now we get to another disease, death thing. Spanish flu!
Hey-o.
Yay!
Oh my god, Downton Abbey. Continue.
So they
Parallels
think,
to 2020.
Oh, but wait. Sorry, Midwest. They think this strain of the flu in the 1918 epidemic came from a farm animal in the Midwest.
Yeah.
I said, sure, blame the Midwest, why don't ya? Or a bird.
Sure, blame the bad, why don't you? We're easy targets. Name that movie. Anastasia!
Oh. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Oh my god.
Once upon a December. Oh my god, we already sang that in Moscow.
Yeah.
They said it could have traveled between sheeps, pigs, bison, elk, birds, and moose until it finally mutated into a strain that could be transmitted to or between humans.
I just had a really sad vision of a moose being like, lo siento.
Why?
Is this the Spanish flu?
Oh my god. I'll tell you how it got named that.
It's just
Okay.
a Spanish moose.
I'll tell you
you
why it got named the Spanish flu. They think it started as a slow spread through the U.S. during the first half of the year before hitching a ride with the 200,000 troops who traveled to Europe to fight in World War I.
And everyone got it.
But it seemed to mostly be gone from the U.S. by June. That was not the case for everywhere else. It spread like wildfire throughout Europe that summer, making the stop first in Spain. It killed so many people in Spain that's where it earned the name the Spanish flu. America.
Is this the American flu now?
We're
number one. We're number one.
Yeah. In death toll.
But we're number one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. That was super passive aggressive because...
Yeah, we're a little feisty today. Yeah. Going back to school is putting
We're always feisty.
Stress.
What are you talking about?
I feel like I'm extra feisty.
Oh, yeah. Like, my sarcasm has just, like, exponentially grown.
The longer 2020 happens,
yeah.
the less I care about anything.
The longer it happens. We still have
not that long.
4 fucking months left.
We're trucking on through. I meant,
if we survive this fucker.
There was a huge fire in Grand Prairie this morning because a plastics factory blew up.
We're all gonna have cancer now.
Well, yes, but also Colin was there because that's where he works, and he just texted me. He just said, "I just walked into Mordor." And I said, "What?" And he's like, he sent me a news article, and I was like, "What? Leave! What are you doing?" I was like, "Keep your mask on all the time, even when you're alone, because that plastic carcinogens are all going in you."
Yeah, so we're all gonna die from cancer now.
But always,
so that's great.
Anyway, because everything gives you cancer now. You drink water and they're like, you're gonna get cancer. Fuck you. Cool.
I think it's like 1 in 3 now.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah.
And there are cures. Like, don't get me started. There are fucking cures.
We can keep drinking and talking about Philadelphia, not cancer.
Yeah. This is probably one of the many reasons the rest of the world hates us.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was my next line.
We're not all that bad.
Okay.
Some of us also want to be in Europe.
Anyway, the flu was weird, though, because it didn't go after old folks and babies like usual. It went after people in the best shape of their lives who were strong and would have been expected to live. So...
COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, isn't that kind of
It's going to happen, yeah. But continue.
Flu usually caused nasal and pulmonary hemorrhaging and killed people within 3 days.
Ooh.
Around 10,000 people were dead by the time summer was over, only to grow even worse in the fall. The ports were reporting 3/4 of their workers too sick to work, and the virus started mutating and making it all the more deadly. So here's how it relates to Philly. On September 28th, there was a Liberty Loan parade in Philadelphia to promote the government bonds used to aid the Allied cause across the pond. A parade at which thousands of people got infected. This led to hundreds of dead bodies flooding the city morgue within days because, remember, it was only taking around 3 days for people to die. And the morgue was only fit to hold fucking 36 bodies at the time. Any given time. So, remember, hundreds, you can imagine. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's happening. Never mind.
Hey, y'all. You know how we say, like, don't go to large gatherings?
This is why, because you're all gonna die.
Please don't infect other people. Thanks.
So they quarantined the whole city. Around 12,000 Philadelphians died, and in the U.S., about 5 of every 1,000 people contracted the flu. It was even worse throughout the rest of the world. Estimates show that about 20 million people died in India, and around 10% of Tahiti's overall population died within 3 weeks. Western Samoa had 20% die.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah. So the article on History.com that I read said that more people died from the flu than from all of the battles of World War I combined.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. And it keeps getting sadder. So, Move was a radical cult group in Philly in the 1970s to 80s.
Wait, who was?
Move.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're kidding.
I heard you, but I didn't process it.
I said move. Just kidding. I said move, bitch. Get out the way. Okay, in 1978, there was a confrontation between the cops and Move, which led to the death of...
Hang on. Interjection.
Okay.
The house on the plot where John Wayne Gacy killed everyone is for sale.
Oh my god.
Shit. How much is it for?
It's always an ungodly
It's in Chicago.
But still.
8215 West Somerdale Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. House built in the same spot where 26 of serial killer John Wayne Gacy Jr.'s victims were buried in the crawl space of his house. Open concept. Vaulted ceilings, skylights, unique second floor loft, double-sided fireplace, tons of storage. Yeah, no shit, for 26 bodies.
But I love how they're like open concept because they're like, look guys, no more bodies, we opened it up.
Close to public transportation. This is a must-see house.
I want to go see this
Oh
house.
my god.
Yes.
Literally, it's so cool. I don't know how much it's for sale for, but I will keep looking. But I feel like
Oh my gosh.
that's incredible.
So, please note, we don't think the murder of 26 individuals is funny. It's just insane.
435,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square feet for Chicago. That's not bad.
Right,
That
if we
isn't-
all
That's
went
probably
in
because all the
together.
ghosts.
Right.
Oh my
And as Catherine is about to move into
It
a
would
house,
be a haunted
Zach and
bakery
I,
speakeasy thing that we're doing. I forgot
no
all the other
train.
things.
you just have like little train things running around.
Then we
There's
have
no
to Beetlejuice
HOA.
that hoe.
Hey,
Yeah, okay. One thing I miss about the
What's the square
Midwest.
footage?
No
2,500.
HOA.
Oh, nice.
I hate that HOA.
Yeah, and then
Like,
that's
I
a pretty
get it.
reasonable
It's
house.
here.
So-
But if we went, we could help the ghosts cross over.
Yeah.
All the ghosts who are stuck there
Oh,
from that
I'll just be the
maniac.
ghost whisperer.
From that maniac, we could help them.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will have little seances for them so that way they can talk with their weapons.
I said we should have a seance before, and you guys told me no. So
Yeah, not in the
No
house
Ouija
where John.
boards.
I would do a seance, not a Ouija board. That is.
Yeah.
I didn't say Ouija board. I said fucking seance, and you guys were like, no.
I had a pink sparkly Ouija board growing up.
I had a Ouija board growing up. It was black.
I would, yeah. The pink and sparkly made it safe from demons.
My devout Christian self did not.
Oh, we weren't supposed to. We did. It was black.
I bought it at Toys R Us, so.
I bought mine at Spencer's. Okay, so the article stated that the innocent members of MOVE were convicted for the crime of killing the cop.
Yeah.
Really pissed off the other members and led to a counterattack that came to a head on December 24th, 1983, following the lead of MOVE member John Africa.
God bless the rain.
Every time I saw it, I wanted to sing. Okay, Toto. MOVE members were yelling profanities at their neighbors through loudspeakers from their headquarters at 6221 Osage Avenue. But more terrifying still was the large cache of weapons that they started collecting and the bunkers they began building in their house.
Oh.
It all blew up in May of 1985, and so I wrote that
Literally?
line. No, I wrote that line before I knew the rest of the story, so oops. When the mayor, W. Wilson Good, gave the police the order to raid the radical group's headquarters, since the cops couldn't really get the members out due to their bunkers and positions, like their little hidey holes,
Sure.
they dropped a fucking bomb on the roof to try to destroy the bunker. Little did they know there was fucking gas and tar on the roof, so this caused a big old fire that it took the fire department an hour to even start extinguishing. This shit quickly got out of control, as you can imagine, and it led to the deaths of 5 of the kids and 6 of the adults inside MOVE headquarters. The fire raged for so long that it took out almost the whole block of houses before they were able to contain it. For those of you counting, that's 11 dead, 5 of which were children, and 61 destroyed houses. The government obviously...
Okay, how young were these children?
I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't say.
Because I wonder if they're considered children because they were under 18, so like 17-year-olds trying to get on the movement.
I don't know. It
Okay.
didn't. I'm sure I could find it somewhere, but...
I mean, it's still sad that someone's
I
life
hope
was
that they were
ended
a part
so
of the
soon.
movement and not like
Innocents.
8-year-olds who were
Yeah.
forced to be a part of the movement.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Or like kids, someone's
Yeah.
kids or something. But the government obviously came under heavy scrutiny for this, and in 1986, 3 MOVE survivors of the raid were awarded $1.5 million by a jury. So now is the portion of this segment where I get to make fun of Catherine. Nope, that wasn't your foot. Where I get to make fun
Whose
of Catherine for her pronunciation and lingo like she does to me all the goddamn time. So,
Fuck off, Brie.
yeah, see? Point made. Okay, a native, this is directly from a website, a native will turn the O at the end of Mexico into ow. Mexico. and now is pronounced now. Gotta
I
add
do
the
say
A's in
now.
there. Yeah.
I
yeah.
do say that.
Yo, probably a form of the Italian word for I.
Io?
It's io. Why does it say yo? Anyway, is how to get one another's
Yo?
attention. It just says yo, so normally
No,
you
yeah,
say yo.
is
But
Italian.
Io is how you say I in Italian. It's saying
Yeah,
like
there's an interpretation of it.
yeah, okay. Gas. It doesn't matter if it's like to heat something or to put fuel in a car. It's called gas. And furnaces are known as heaters, which okay, we call furnaces heaters too. So fuck off. Yiz is the collective you. Y-I-Z.
Okay, no, that is from Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia.
It said Philly in the thing. Yeah, I'm going with Yiz to the Phillies.
That's what it says.
I'm just enjoying this little word fuse.
If it was use, that's correct. Because my grandpa will be like, "I'll use going to the store," and I'm like, "Yes, Bob."
Oh, I mean, I think that's an old person thing because my grandma in Kentucky says that.
I think that's an old person thing.
What?
So I guess everyone in formal conversation calls it Philly. The people are fluffians in the city fluffia. I'm gonna call you a fluffian.
I've never heard this in my life. What are your sources, Brianna?
It'll be on the motherfucking blog like it always is. So apparently there are no grammatical rules. People often add syllables to words and subtract them from other words and shit. So let's see.
We talked.
So
about
us on this.
Huh?
So us on this. We just like skip over things.
Fuck all the time because I can't speak. We're gonna skip the rest of this because Catherine's annoyed with me. Fun facts.
Use guys. Okay. So certain ones that I will admit to is we say you guys a lot. Like I don't say y'all ever. I'll always say you guys. We call like Crayola crayons. Crans, which is correct because the Crayola factory's in Allentown, which is about an hour outside of Philly.
Well, we
But
call
the
them crayons
Crayola
too.
experience is right outside of my apartment right now.
Yeah, but it's a traveling show and they're called crayons.
It's a permanent location in this mall.
Well,
So
the
these crayons are gonna stay.
No, we don't call it that. Water
Oh yeah.
instead of water.
So my boss's mother-in-law is from Boston, and she calls it water.
Yeah, my family does. I moved so much growing up that I have a pretty standard American accent. Like my big one is you guys and crayons.
Yeah. Well, and my friend back home, her dad is from Jersey, and he says water, and so like we always make fun of him, but it's funny because my boss's little 5-year-old daughter makes fun of her grandma. You want water?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, yes, you're 5.
Oh, we call like a tap or a faucet. We call them spigots.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
We
trying,
just say tap water, but yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. Those are the only ones I can think of right now
Okay.
that are like real.
Got some fun facts. So,
We only call it PA. Like when we're referring to Pennsylvania, we call it PA.
Yeah. So Philadelphia hasn't had a civic center in years, but there are blue signs all over the city that point to it.
Yeah.
Which I loved that. I was like, this is wonderful.
That's about right.
Signs are expensive. If Zach were here, he would tell you signs are expensive.
They said snow never sticks before Christmas, and there have only been 11 Christmases since '58 with measurable snow. In South Philly, the police look the other way when you park the car on the wide median strip along Broad Street.
Oh, people drive like absolute lunatics.
So those are some of the fun facts. I just enjoyed those. Now for the lore. Now, I did not take notes on this because I'm so serious, guys. I was reading this shit and I said, fuck no. Like,
There's
oh my god.
so there was a lot that I really
we
could
are
have
spooky town.
dived into. Dove.
Dove?
I could have dove
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plunged.
There was a lot that I could have done research on.
Plunged by the shaft.
But like, okay, I'm pretty happy with my story. But holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fascinating. And so I have so much family. We're going to plan a trip.
Yeah.
Colin wants to go when it's not COVID because this is his first time going so that he can see everything. I mean, literally, there are so many battlefields and like old haunted places that no matter where you go, it is history and spooky, and I love it.
We're
And
gonna
snacks. Yeah, but we literally have places to go. Like, it will be amazing.
We're gonna have to spend like 3 weeks there just to like hit the highlights.
Yeah, I have so many people who will take us places.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm starting with the least creepy.
Cool.
There's a bus to nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this one bus, and it doesn't have like a destination listed, and it picks up essentially like the desolate. Like you were at your lowest point in life, you have nowhere else to go, you have no one and nothing.
The night bus?
Yep.
And so
The PA night bus.
you get on, and you have like no destination in mind, and then whenever you just like feel like it, you pull the little lever and buzzer cord thing and get off, and you're where you're supposed to be next, and you've forgotten how you got there, or like everything. But it's just like
that's called alcohol, my friends.
Yeah, it's probably because I had too many fish house punches.
There's that.
Too many fish in the sea.
So then there's also good Lord.
Too many goslings in the punch bowl.
What a weird measurement. I'm always gonna be like, how many goslings can I fit in that cup?
I'm doing brief overviews on these because,
That's
again,
fine.
did not take notes because I was, no, I didn't want these notes in my computer.
Oh, I was actually really bothered by my case too.
Yeah.
And I'm never
get bugged.
I'm respectfully bothered by them.
Yeah.
But I literally had to stop researching this before bed because I had nightmares.
Yes. So, like, with lore, I love lore. Like, little creeps me out, especially when it's just, like, reading or watching something.
Yeah.
Like, this shit was creeping me the fuck out, and I was getting paranoid, and I was like, oh, hell no. I am done. So, World War II, the Philadelphia experiment. Yeah. So they were essentially trying to move secretly, big ass, like, submarines and warships and whatnot, and they allegedly made one disappear, like, by New York or some shit, and moved it further up. I don't fucking remember where it was, and it reappeared somewhere else.
Don't ask questions, Brie.
Yeah.
But when they found it, like, some of the crew was missing, some of them were dead, and some of them were fused to the fucking ship. Like, their body parts had been made into the ship, and, like, they were a part of the ship. Oh my god. So
key as fuck.
Davy Jones's locker, like, oh my god.
Well, they got the info from the UFOs.
Yeah.
I heard something about UFOs today, and I was like, no, the other day I saw something in the sky, and it, like, flashed, and then it was gone, and I was like, I'm gonna tell Catherine I saw a UFO.
MUFON needs, like, a new president. Like, because there's been, like, a bunch of issues with, like, higher-ups at MUFON, and I was like, I'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll take one for the team. So, how did you say that earlier? Because I watched it in a video, and I've already forgotten the Schuylkill? Schuylkill. Okay.
The Schuylkill Valley.
So, this one's just kind of weird. So, Schuylkill County residents kept finding, like, weird-ass printed messages in their grocery items. And it wasn't all...
It's because they were all drunk on Fish House Punch.
It was... Okay, so they weren't all the same items. Like, this is one of the things that creeped me out, because it's, like, it shows the letter, and it's, like, in big capital bold, lies. And it's, like, a newspaper letter. Like, I can show you the picture. See, at the top and the bottom, but then it's like, secret societies, ties to terrorism, shootings, staged confrontations, and other crises are reported, but JFK/Lincoln warned us of SS, Europe's Aryan elite and their SS, Vatican Jesuits, Masons, leading SS running other, I don't even know what the fuck that is, it's Illuminati, amazing. Secret rise. This thing was just like, what the fuck? This is like looking into a cracked ass person's brain, like, I don't even know.
Me when I forget to take my anxiety medicine.
Okay, so, like, I also have anxiety, but, like, I guess mine's not that level of bad. I don't know. You tell me, because you're the one who fucking diagnosed me, Catherine Sips. Like, bitch, you lying.
Just wait.
Okay, so I know I have bad anxiety. Okay. I should probably
I didn't even say anything. That's just your anxiety talking.
Don't fucking lie. Don't try to play that off. You side-eyed me and sipped. Like, yeah, okay.
Lies.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh my god, I'm a comic genius tonight.
Shut up. Okay, so they kept finding this, but it was in, like, random things. It wasn't even the same item, and it was, like, over a span of years. People just, and, like, someone had it under their windshield wiper. Someone found it in their fucking tie.
Someone had, like, a long, slow burn of a prank. God bless them.
I don't know, man, but they're just like, it's kind of creepy. And I'm like, no fucking shit, it's a little creepy.
It started out as, like, high school kids, and now they're, like, balding and middle-aged. Like, gotta go put this in someone's egg carton. I'll be right back.
Honestly, though, one lady, like, found it in her diapers. And, like, some of these are, like, enclosed things, but it couldn't have been put in at the manufacturer because it wasn't, unless it's like, okay, like Clinton, where I'm from, and it's a small factory town, like you said, it's a bunch of high schoolers, and they're like, I work at this factory, and I work at this factory, so, like, we're gonna put it here 1 year, and then, like, 3 years later, we're gonna put it here, and so...
Well, no, because those are distributed throughout the world.
Yeah.
See? True. So, like, what the fuck?
Magic.
Anyway.
Aliens.
Okay, so the Cave of Kelpius. So, Cave of Kelpius, it was America's first doomsday cult. And that's where they awaited the end of the world.
Oh my god.
Oh, Philly.
All hail Zorb.
Okay, so it's in Fairmount Park. There's the Kelpius Cave, and it's a cave that's built... It's not the Rona. Into the side of a hill.
Cough.
You have to have a disclaimer for people these days, Carrie.
Rona's a cough.
There's
my disclaimer.
People will give you dirty looks if you sneeze in public.
I sneezed inside my mask, and people were like, making the sign of the cross.
Lord, if that worked, I would have been saved a long time ago.
Oof. Okay, so cave built into the side of a hill has a stone frame entrance, and they believe it's a 17th century home of America's first cult of mystics to predict the imminent apocalypse. So,
Is that 2020?
Right.
God, Philly is such a beautiful
I'm
city.
convinced. So, cynics say that it's actually just an old spring house.
Can't it be both?
Yeah. Why can't it be both?
If I needed to go get water, I would also be a mystic protecting the city from the apocalypse.
But other people are like, okay, but then why does it have a fireplace and a chimney? Which have now, like, fallen into disrepair and have been taken down because, like, graffiti and shit. But
there's graffiti on everything.
Yeah. Like Pompeii. Dicks everywhere.
No, but, like, modern graffiti also.
Yes.
Pompeii is old-timey graffiti.
Yeah.
But
well,
still penises everywhere.
Fucking Vesuvius. 1694, mystic and scholar Johannes Kelpius and his followers, they
mystic
believed...
and scholar. That's what I want behind my name. You are a mystic and a scholar.
Honestly, though.
Thank you.
I also want to have two versions of my death.
Which one is true?
And they're going to put Hontrix on my tree that is my tombstone because tree.
Yeah, I know. We have that recorded, so we have proof that that's what you want.
All of these things.
Yeah.
Okay. The Hontrix, she was a mystic and a scholar. One of the versions of her death.
The other version is that she died in her sleep peacefully in her home.
Boring.
Rest in peace.
But like also maybe how I want to go because less painful, but like not as exciting.
You're still gonna poop yourself. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Right.
The bloating.
I'm already bloated. Like me,
Preach.
dead me is gonna be like Veruca Salt over here.
Violet, you're turning violet. Violet.
Oh yeah, Violet, not Veruca Salt.
You good?
They're
Okay.
gonna roll me out to the juicing room.
Oh my god. All the nasty things.
The corner is gonna be oompa.
Oh my We're gonna play it at your funeral. Just
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's sweet.
if we're still alive.
We all know I'm gonna die first. I'm barely functioning now.
Okay, let's go back to the fucking doomsday cult, okay? So, they believed, based on an elaborate interpretation of the Bible's Book of Revelation, that the world was going to end that year. And so the monks wanted to live a solitary lifestyle in the wilderness, while they waited for the end of days and the second coming.
Cool.
So they were called the Hermits of the Wissahickon because it was on the banks of the Wissahickon Creek. Or the Society of the Woman of the Wilderness. And I was like, but
That's beautiful.
I know, but they're monks, so hold up. So that was a reference to a passage in Revelation in which a woman flees to the wilderness to seek refuge from the end of the world. But there were like there
beautiful
were
thing, though.
Yeah.
It is, but there were no women among them.
It's because women were too smart. We're like, we got shit to do. We can't go
Right.
sit in the woods and wait for the world to end. Come
Right.
on.
Yeah. So they
I have my
established.
bread to bake.
So to follow this woman in the Bible, they established themselves on a hill at the edge of the Wissahickon Woods, is known as the Hermit's Glen, and there's still a nearby road called Hermit Lane.
I think it's Wissahickon.
It might be. No, it's an Hickon.
Okay.
I mean, did you see how Schuylkill was spelled?
That's fair. That's
I could be wrong. I've never heard of this, so I don't know.
Okay, so they were early pietist monks. They fled Germany to the newly founded province of Philadelphia. Built on the principle of religious tolerance, Quakers, blah, blah, blah. So there's a statue of a Quaker called Toleration in the Wissahickon as well. Yeah, 40 is a huge number. There were 40 monks. Sorry, it was like a real big thing. So let's talk about that. It had mystical significance, apparently.
Cool.
I mean, 40 in the Bible is significant.
Maybe that's why.
40 days and 40 nights.
Oh, that's fair. That's true.
I only know that.
Tell.
I know the entire Book of Genesis word for word because of the musical Children of Eden, in which I played a kangaroo. But it's word for word, except for one part that is The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. So I also know that word for word.
Okay, but get this.
Yeah, my Sunday school just literally like read through the entire Book of Genesis. So.
Oh yeah,
it's a great storytelling.
It is. Jacob and Sons.
Go, Joseph. So that is not good storytelling. That is an acid trip. It's fun as hell, but it is an acid trip.
So Kelpius, he was Philadelphia's first mystical guru. And whenever I think of guru, I think of Michael Myers and the Love Guru. Okay, but he hailed from Transylvania and was 26 years old when he formed the society in the woods.
Oh my god.
He was a musician, a scholar, and a writer.
So he's playing the flutes that Ron Swanson sells. This is literally the Zorb people. I love it.
And he was interested in botany and astronomy. So a bunch of the monks practiced medicine and composed music. And then, so I guess they lived. I'm trying to finish my shit so you guys can get to yours, and I can drink my punch.
Yeah, mine's almost gone.
They lived in cabins along the river, and they used the cave to store books and scientific equipment. Respect, motherfuckers. Yeah.
So these were like a non-violent end of times cult.
Yeah, they were hella.
Cool.
They were hella Quaker. Okay. That's why they had toleration as like their statue.
Yeah, Quakers are chill AF.
Yeah. So they had an observatory where monks could practice the astronomy, and it was supposed to. It's thought to be one of the first the first observatory in the New World. But the end of the world didn't come, obviously, so they stayed there, and they created art and music, and studied the skies, and helped the community around them. And there's more, but we're just gonna leave it at that because I liked it.
Cute.
Yep.
So there was also the Green Lady.
Ooh.
And when I read this, I kept thinking of the weeping angel in fucking Doctor Who.
The
Weeping Angels?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, like, look at this picture. I'm putting this on the blog. It's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrifying.
Don't blink.
Yeah. Isn't that what makes you think?
They could have based it off that.
Well, and they may have. I don't know, but, so it was like, it scared school children. It was like huge in schools, and it was causing like widespread panic. Like they were having to shut shit down, and like kids were coming. Like a girl came in with a cut on her cheek, and she's like, "The Green Lady did it to me."
Oh my god, the drama.
Oh my god, so much.
That girl literally got everyone talking to her about it.
Yeah,
it's
her cat like got her, and she's like, "My cat's name is the Green Lady."
No, she got it like after coming to school.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. It was like a chunk out of her cheek. I don't fucking know.
Oh. Can I interject with the story about Annie in preschool?
Please do.
She got like suspended.
Oh my god, what? Annie!
In preschool. And like she didn't do it on purpose, but she was playing dinosaurs with another girl, and she scratched her face, and the girl was a permanent like gouge out of her face, and Annie felt so bad. And the other girl's mom was like they were clearly playing, but Annie got in so much trouble. But like,
I have scars on both of my cheeks from like me playing with other kids.
Yeah.
And just like getting scratched on the face, and so they're small now because I'm like old.
Shut the fuck up. You're the youngest one in this room. Oh my God.
No, I have little cuts down both of my cheeks.
What was I gonna say? Oh, see, I mostly just had a girl throw my shoe away in preschool. Just one, because we liked the same boy, and then we became best friends in high school. And she's like, remember? And I was like, bitch, that was you! And it's also funny because I didn't know this, but her aunt was actually my kindergarten teacher, whom I adored.
Aww.
Cute.
So, anyway, Green Lady was hella terrifying, scared the shit out of kids, widespread panic all throughout the schools, all that good shit. Ooh, so there was this guy, would you bitch?
Bree is the Green Lady.
Baby, don't blink.
That was a terrifying sound.
That was me talking to my dog as she continues to nudge me while I try to do this. Okay, so there's this guy, they called him Sandy Flash. Oh my god.
That sounds like an STD.
Yeah.
No, his name was Sandy Flash. They called him Captain Fitz. Anyway, he was a bandit, and he was somewhat Robin Hood-like.
Okay.
And he eventually got caught because of his lady love.
Oh.
And hanged. But they say he still has treasure hidden out there somewhere, potentially at Castle Rock. But yeah, so there's that. Oh my god, I'm almost done. Would you stop?
Yeah, you're really needy tonight.
wants
Oh
attention.
my god. Okay. His name was James Sandy Flash Fitzpatrick. Okay, so that was
makes the Fitz work.
Captain Fitz.
the last one is the Adelphia House and Satanic Worship. So
okay.
the only thing I have on this was a Reddit thread, and I was like, I'm not researching
I have
this
Reddit threads too.
I was like, I'm not researching this any further because it's hella creepy, and also it was kind of hard, and I didn't want it on my computer.
Right.
Like, it was kind of hard to find anything, and I was like, I'm not going past page 1 because I'm scared.
Yeah.
So, but here it is. Reddit for the win. So, the Adelphia House is on Chestnut Street.
Which is, like, super famous street in Philly.
So this came from a person who lived there in college in 2005. It
Also,
reminded
the oldest
them.
theater in the United States is on that street.
He said it reminded them of the Overlook Hotel from The Shining.
Oh.
It's so beautiful there.
So they said him and friends would get drunk and wander the building on weekends. So they were trying to get out on the roof and shit. But one time they found some really creepy shit in the basement because there was supposed to be a satanic cult that used to worship in the basement, and apparently there may have been a hidden tunnel that led elsewhere.
Love hidden tunnels.
But I found that somewhere else. But let's see.
It was just the cops, like, being like, kids, stop drinking in here, and they just, like, put
A big ass pentagram in the basement, which
That's
is what was
genius.
there, with melted candles and satanic sigils written in chalk all over. Mannequins and parts of mannequins laying around, making it hella creepy. It's never fucking a mannequin.
Was it actually a mannequin?
They said it was.
Somehow that's even worse.
I know. Mannequins are terrifying. When I saw the first episode of Doctor Who, my stepsister was watching it, and I said, "What the fuck? No."
It's so good. Okay, but like, there's an 80s movie, these 80s or 90s called Mannequin, where like a mannequin comes to life, and it's like a love story, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Well, Life Size on Disney Channel.
Tyra.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where she's Barbie
less
and
terrifying.
she comes to life.
So the rumors are as old as the building itself. It's been a shitty club. I guess they used to serve like underage kids. It was an indie concert venue.
Of course it was.
That never opened. Apparently,
not open.
apartment building in the 70s. Originally, it was the Bingham, which is a hotel, I guess. Used to be a meeting place for the Masons that ran City Hall. So the secret tunnel under City Hall apparently detours there. But they said City Hall was also built way before that hotel in the 1900s. So again, this is lore. Welcome to lore, motherfuckers. But not the podcast. Don't sue me.
Aaron Mankey, we
love
appreciate
you. Oh my god, your storytelling voice is amazing.
I know.
And
I
your
follow him on
stories.
Instagram and Twitter, and I'm just like,
Everything.
just
I love
talk to
him.
me.
Oh my god, he's so good. Okay, the top floors were like home away from home for government officials, secret ceremonies in the basement, like I said, and then I guess other unsavory things. So yeah, that's that, and I wasn't delving any further into it because scary.
Sure.
Yeah. So we need to tag Aaron Mankey whenever we post this, because like he loves to support new podcasts.
I love him.
So I want to just like talk with him.
For real though, he's amazing. Every time I try and look up lore stuff, I have to like specify because he's so big now, and I'm like, I aspire to be you, and I know.
Aaron Mankey.
Yes,
and this.
Yes.
Oh
my god, every time I hear his voice, like the intro, and I'm like his voice, and I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, well,
my
the
god.
TV show's on Amazon Prime. I've watched it.
Well,
It's
Holland
so
Roden
good.
was in an episode, who I love.
Well, a girl that I was in Cats with is one of the actresses.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because she started posting about it. I was like,
He has
holy
books
shit.
too. He has books,
Does he?
everything.
I love
It's so good, and he also has Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah, I was into that a lot.
And I just forgot the other one. Oh my god, the first season was like this unobserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I love him so much. I aspire to be
So
him.
good.
He's amazing, and we're keeping this in here. And I hope you hear this, Aaron Mankey, because
Aaron Mankey, be our friend.
please.
Okay, so moving on to our nice little haunting up in here.
Spooky.
So at 22nd Street and Fairmont Avenue, the Eastern State Penitentiary is a notorious prison with a castle-like exterior with
It's terrifying.
20-inch thick walls.
Oh, God.
And you just like drive past it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like traffic lights, and you stop there at a red light, and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I looked it up on Google Maps just because I could, because it's still there, and it's massive.
Oh, it's like definitely still there. Like you like see it.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
It's a
My
museum.
mom, when she did the Philly Marathon, used to run right by it, so we were staying there.
Okay. Yeah.
The fucking psych wards I was messaging you about, they're
Well, the Allentown
equally.
one is right there.
Yeah.
The guy, so spooky.
There's so
People
much.
wonder why I turned out the way I did. Like, look where I grew up.
Blame the town. I blame the town. It's okay. I understand.
I'm from Dallas. Can't really blame the town. So it's infamous for being one of the country's oldest and most brutal former prisons.
Yeah.
So, as mentioned earlier, before the establishment of the penitentiary, Dr. Benjamin Rush founded the Philadelphia Society for Alleviating the Miseries of Public Prisons, which was the first prison reform group in the world. One notable member was Ben Franklin.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Did you hear the sound waves change? Because it's hurting
Yes.
my ears.
The woo, 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 woo,
Ew.
woo. Yeah, I feel it. The society is still around today, but it's known as the Pennsylvania Prison Society. They play an underlying role in the creation and management of the penitentiary. They wanted to transform prisons into facilities that fostered reform. We'll see this later as I talk about how the penitentiary was created. So, the construction of the Eastern State Penitentiary began in 1822 with a unique design. It has 7 wings that branch out from a central hub. You can imagine a square version of the British flag with one of the shorter ends on the side taken out, and so it branches out into the 7.
And it's like really unique for the area of town it's in too. Like it looks unique, and it's also giant.
Oh yeah, I mean like it's a fucking castle.
Yeah. It's like this like sandy colored stone. It's like
yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna make me a queen. Okay.
Okay.
Of the Eastern State Penitentiary.
If I could be a boss ass bitch.
Yeah.
I don't mean like as a prisoner.
I mean, they're all ghosts now, so.
I'm gonna run them hoes. Just kidding. Don't kill me, ghosties.
Oh my god, you're haunted now.
I'm always haunted. The
I just got
elf is still gonna
started.
kill me. Sorry.
So one of the main of the main wings, there are branch offs to smaller parallel to the original. So everything is branching away from the center. And so they added on these wings later that are,
Like a spoke.
yeah,
It's
essentially.
like the Georgia airport.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not Georgia. What was it? Was
Atlanta.
It oh yeah.
Atlanta.
So, super fun fact. In 1826, Marquis de Lafayette
Hey, my man Lala. Woo woo.
visited the unfinished penitentiary.
Me too.
I listened to that pretty much nonstop today because
Non-stop.
Hey,
you're welcome.
man, it's a fucking gift.
I'm like, I want my knee where your foot is.
I'm sorry, I moved. Do you hear my hip crack? I'm so old. I'm 80 years
I
old.
literally, my
We're
hips hurt so bad
fucking old.
on the heating tab.
Not even 30 yet.
Well, I did my bar class today, and we have like hip mobility, and so I literally like went down to like do a regular parallel squat, and it went crack crack, and then we opened up into second position, and I lowered back down into my plie, and it went crack crack again. I was like, damn,
I
I'm
thought you were
old.
gonna say hip mobile. No, I don't know anymore. I'm gonna
Hip
cut
mobility?
that. No, something else. Hip mobile.
Oh.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. It made me laugh.
So yeah, Lala visited the penitentiary.
My man Lala.
So the penitentiary opened its doors in 1829, and here's another fun fact for you. It had running water and central heat before the White House.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was the first jail to have solitary confinement cells. The cells had a single skylight, which, as someone who's house hunting, I love a good skylight.
Oh yeah.
House haunting.
Should have bought the fucking house between the cemeteries. Damn it,
I
Zach.
sent her another one that has cemeteries.
They're just selling so fast. So they had a single skylight that was meant to symbolize the, quote, constant presence of the light from heaven.
Oh God, I just
Well,
barfed a little bit.
And a
Sorry.
Bible.
Sorry.
So every cell had a Bible and a skylight to remind you of Jesus.
Mind you, and Jesus.
Pretty sure they use it to, like, roll joints.
I
Sorry.
just kidding.
As the most devout Christian of the three of us. For
For
me to make that joke.
makes it even better. Where's the lie, though?
Ooh, yeah. So the penitentiary was initially meant to hold just 253 prisoners, but as we've learned in previous episodes, it's never what it's meant to be.
Overcrowding is a thing.
But as I mentioned, they did build on other wings. So they had the initial 7. I think they got up to either 12 or 14. So they either doubled it or almost doubled it. It's the first to coin the name penitentiary, with its religious influence trying to inspire the prisoners to meditate on their crimes and feel remorse, literally to make them feel penitent.
Mm-hmm.
Penitentiary.
They got jokes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, it also drove many inmates insane.
Yeah, they all went crazy. It did not work.
Well, because the inmates were never meant to interact with each other. They would spend up to 23 hours a day in their cell.
Oh.
They were only allowed to speak with the chaplain and their cell block guards. There were masks made for the inmates to prevent them from communicating with others on the rare occasion that they were outside of their cell.
Yeah.
One such occasion...
How man in the iron mask of you.
But
like sensory deprivation almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one such occasion where they'd be let out of their cell would be for their bath that they received once every 2 weeks.
Oh, no. I'd go crazy just from that alone.
Yeah, as a girl who showers every single day.
Yeah.
I shower and take a bath every day. I have a problem.
So, my hair's so thick that my hairstylist told me I should go as long as possible without washing it. Because you can't fucking tell.
Right.
Dude, if I go more than 3 days, because I tried my heart. I literally get headaches. I have a physical reaction. I will get headaches if I go more than 3 days without washing my hair.
See, like, even when I was on Accutane, because Accutane just messed up my whole system, and so, like, I didn't have to wash my hair every day, which is why I typically wash my hair every day.
Mm-hmm.
I would still shower every day just to, wash my body, because I can't...
Oh, well, I would still wash my body every day.
Oh, yeah, no, like, I don't know, I just, 2 weeks without a shower. I couldn't.
You would itch. In addition to the smells, and like
there's bugs,
ooh,
temperature.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Hard nope.
Yeah, I just okay. I had to include it though. They were fed through feed doors and had their own individual exercise yards, so they couldn't interact with other inmates to reduce contact with the guards. If the inmates were caught speaking, they were swiftly punished, from being left in a dark cell with only bread and water to being bound in a straitjacket and gagged.
Oh, fuck. No wonder they went batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah, they really... And I think some of the intention was good, and it just backfired so horribly.
Right.
So quickly.
Well, a lot of this can be mirrored into modern society. Mm-hmm. I can force someone to go read a Bible. It doesn't make them a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I can force someone to be penitent, quote unquote, and they're just going to sit there and be pissed off at me.
Fuck yeah.
And so that's probably what was...
I would be.
Yeah. Go be penitent for your sins. Yeah, I their intent was there. But as we've learned before... Yeah. So on October 25th, 1829, Eastern State received its first inmate, Charles, quote, from the Eastern State website, Charles Williams, prisoner number 1, burglar, light black skin, 5 feet 7 inches tall, foot 11 inches, scar on nose, scar on thigh, broad mouth, black eyes, farmer by trade, can read. Theft included one $20 watch, one $3 gold seal, one a gold key. Sentenced to 2 years confinement with labor, received by Samuel R. Wood, first warden, Eastern State Penitentiary. So that was the log for their first inmate ever.
That does not seem like a crime that deserves
No.
solitary confinement.
No.
2 years.
When he arrived, they put a bag over his head to keep his identity hidden and one to prevent him from seeing the layout of the building. So that way it would make it harder for them to escape.
Yep.
They received their first female prisoner in 1831.
Oh, it was co-ed.
It was co-ed.
Interesting.
And
I mean, everyone's kept so separate.
Yeah. Did you already mention that, or did I miss that it was?
No,
co-ed?
she hadn't mentioned it yet.
Okay, cool.
I'm still working through. It's deliberately laid out, I promise.
No, you're good. I just wasn't sure if you'd already said it, and I just had somehow missed it.
When it was men, women, and children. So it was broad spectrum.
Shit.
Yeah. They had their first escape the following year in 1832 when an inmate lowered himself from the roof to the front of the building. He was captured, but escaped in the same manner a few years later in 1837.
How the fuck does bitch get to the roof?
Also,
Climb.
it's Spider-Man.
Well, and If I remember correctly, it said that he was like a warden assistant kind of deal, and so they had their towers. And so he got into the tower. Yeah. So the guards were horrible, as you can well imagine.
But they're doing it for Jesus, so it's okay.
Fuck off.
They didn't do this for Jesus. They invented their own medieval torture practices.
Of course.
One was the mad chair, where the prisoners were restrained so tightly that their blood could not properly circulate.
No.
This, plus a lack of food, drove the prisoners to literal madness. Hence, mad chair.
Also, so like as someone with horrible circulation.
Yeah.
If I sit weird for 5 minutes, I literally can't walk, and like...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's horrible, right? Can you imagine someone deliberately doing that to you to the point where it literally can cause death to parts of your body before the rest of you? Like, that's horrifying.
Yeah. Another torture method was the water bath, where they would dunk prisoners in water and then hang them on a wall overnight.
It would be so cold.
They would do this in the winter months, and they would find them in the morning with a layer of ice covering their bodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that in Saw. It's one of the ways they kill a chicken Saw, like 5 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That is awful, and it always terrifies me because people pretty, like, at least 1 year probably back home die from exposure. Like, they will fall asleep drunk outside or accidentally lock themselves out or something and literally freeze to death and die on, like, their front steps and shit.
Yeah.
So it's not, like...
Right. So, I mean, like, you can accidentally do this,
but... Hypothermia is horrible.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That just, ugh.
So, speaking of death, their first death was in 1833 when an inmate named Mathis McCumsey was tortured to death with the iron gag to prevent him from talking.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Do I want to know what the iron gag...
Iron...
It, like, went inside their mouth.
Yeah.
But does it open in some way?
It didn't, like, rip their jaw. It just, like...
But...
filled their mouth so they couldn't talk to it.
You know, there's the kinky gag.
Yeah, the ball gag.
But,
Catherine and I know. We're both like, oh, the ball gag.
well, yeah, but think of that, but larger.
Yeah.
So you can't really close your mouth around it.
Yeah. Well, that was the first thing I wondered. I was just curious how they died from it.
I'm probably just the torture, but that was like the method that they used.
Okay.
Because that was literally the only information I could get.
He may not have been able to breathe.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was wondering exactly like how it was, if it was like so big or...
I mean, he could probably still breathe through his nose.
Unless he had some sort of a pre-existing condition.
Right.
Or he had a panic attack with it and just couldn't handle it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot that they did not report and did not report on.
I would have a panic attack if anyone put anything near my mouth. I can't even go to the dentist without being like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, with any bad situation, the prisoners began to fight back.
Sure.
So, still in 1933, prisoners set fires in their cells to...
Is this a place where they would talk to each other by, like, banging on the walls? Like, the prisoners created a code?
No.
That's...
Not that they mentioned.
So, earlier... I was like, I know of a story where they couldn't talk in the prisons, and so they would bang them, but I couldn't think of what it...
Yeah, I'll see.
Okay. I didn't find it in any of mine, but I also geared mine in a certain direction.
Yeah.
But also it didn't say on the Eastern State website, and I feel like that'd be something important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they began to set fires in their cells to protest overcrowding, which seems a little counterintuitive because they're stuck in these cells that they're now setting on fire.
To make them take them out of the cells.
But they wouldn't take them out of the cells, they're just killing themselves.
They would let them fucking burn in there?
I mean, they're literally torturing them to death, so
I mean,
why not let them kill themselves?
That's true.
However, this did lead to investigations in 1834 into the prison's finances, punishment practices, and deviations.
Through the finances. Everyone's like, are your taxes in order? Like, not the fact that people are burning themselves to death.
Yeah, but also into the deviations from the Pennsylvania system of confinement, that society that we talked about earlier. And so that's still been going on. It was sort of their audit system, but clearly they were not following it.
No shit.
In 1842, Charles Dickens visited Eastern State and later wrote, quote, The system is rigid, strict, and hopeless solitary confinement.
If Charles Dickens thinks your prison's fucked up,
right?
Oh, I'm not done with this yet.
Yikes.
Oof.
So, quote, the system is rigid, strict, and hopeless solitary confinement, and I believe it in its effects to be cruel and wrong.
Damn.
End quote,
Called out
Charles
by
Dickens.
motherfuckers.
Lisa, I want some more.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh.
Oh, Dickens. That was a good episode of Doctor Who.
That's the second episode of Doctor Who.
Oh,
Third.
okay.
Third episode.
I was gonna say, isn't the second one where Mickey gets eaten by the garbage can?
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Is it the first one?
With the mannequins?
Yep.
What's the second one then?
Second one was at the end of the world when Cassandra's there.
Ah.
My favorite.
Yes.
Oh,
Moisturize me.
And they have Toxic as like the old American song, and they have a copy of Harry Potter as like one of the most important Earth relics.
you're not wrong though.
Let me play you a song of ancient Earth, and it's like, I was like, this show is perfect.
The face of Bo.
Oh my god, the face of Bo.
Oh, okay.
Talk to
Sorry.
the face. Talk to the face. Iconic.
Back to horrible things.
Oh.
So it only took 20 years for the initial idea of keeping all the prisoners solitary to fall apart. By the 1860s, they began putting multiple prisoners in a single cell. It took until 1913 for the Pennsylvania system of confinement with solitude to be officially abandoned at Eastern State. Granted, it had been abandoned everywhere else decades earlier.
Mm.
In 1923, Frida Frost, sorry, that was really hard to say, but Miss Frida Frost was the last female inmate to leave the prison. She was convicted for poisoning her husband.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier,
It'd be like that sometimes.
it'd be like that. Zach, I love you. I'm not going to kill you, I promise. As mentioned earlier, inmates were fed through the feed doors in their cells, but in 1924, mess halls were finally built and the inmates were able to eat together.
That's good.
Come together.
Social interaction makes people less crazy.
Yeah,
Or more crazy, depending on my mood.
that's fair.
I need a balance of both.
Yep.
So, an oddly touching story from the Eastern State website. Quote, 1924, August 12th. Pennsylvania Governor Gifford Pinchot. We're going to go French. Pinchot.
Gifford, pinch it?
Pinch it.
Pinchot?
Pinch it off.
Oh my god.
I mean,
How are we at poop again?
I'm normally not the poop joke person. My mom would be so proud of me.
Catherine, most of the time you're the one making the poop jokes and comments in the podcast.
No, I'm not.
because you reference your mom and you make a poop joke.
That's all Leslie.
What's up, Leslie?
I'm pretty sure Carrie's normally the poop joke person.
Carrie's usually the poop story person.
I have poop stories.
How am I not the one who talks about poop on this podcast?
Can we get back to my nice story?
Sorry.
Can we get back to politics,
Please,
please?
yo.
I'm sorry.
I was made to be Madison.
I think that's the only time I have to say that in here. So,
I was gonna say pinch it.
well, I don't know. It depends on how he wants to pronounce it. If he wants to be super American,
pinch it.
or if he wants to be French and be
Ooh! Oh, monsieur!
Why, let's laugh like a French man.
I was channeling Babette from Beauty and the Beast. You're welcome.
I'm face palming so hard
no, that
right
was
now.
good. I got two pinch it jokes of different natures.
Okay, we'll
But it's also
we'll
not
be good.
pinch it. It's pinchot or pinchot.
Nah, it's pinch it.
Okay. There's only one I.
Pinch.
It's not even an E, it's an O at the end.
Well, with my Philadelphia accent, according to Brie, I say things like a
Okay. Anyway, so the governor allegedly sentenced Pep, quote, the cat murdering dog, to a life sentence at Eastern State.
No, I just...
Pep, sorry, I can't breathe the finger. But
Not
I
the
like the
middle
middle
one.
one. The
The shut up one.
porque no dos.
Relatable. That's not the word.
Anyway, Pep allegedly murdered the governor's wife's cherished cat. Prison records reflect that Pep was assigned an inmate number C-2559, which is seen in his mugshot. However, the reason for Pep's incarceration remains a subject of some debate. A newspaper article reported that the governor donated his own dog to the prison to increase inmate morale.
I would not donate my own dog.
That's not what I was thinking you were finishing that sentence with, and I was like...
I meant having a dog in the prison definitely would boost morale.
Yeah.
But they should have rescued a stray and named
Yes.
him Jean Valjean. And
Yes, I was about to say Prisoner
24601. This is Prisoner 24601. He's here to boost morale, and he stole some bread, which is like a very dog thing to do, so I feel like it would totally work.
Also, my
Alright, so
comment
whenever
was...
we have our own prison, we can have 24601
I do
running
not
around
want a
stealing
prison.
bread.
No. I
That
don't
is
want
too much
that.
responsibility.
We're not having that in our township/co-op. It's not a cult.
No,
Not
we
a
have
cult.
a bakery and a speakeasy and like a really nice stationery store. We don't have a jail.
No. My comment was I just got to the episode in Wine and Crime where they
the
talk...
animal crime?
Yes! And they were talking about how they used to, like, fucking execute animals for crimes. Like, they would hang pigs and shit. And I'm like...
I mean, the fact that they ate that baby is really sad, but those pigs did not know.
Like, what the actual fuck medieval times?
Oh,
Medieval times is...
It's wild.
It's amazing humans survived. Let me tell
Honestly,
you.
though. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That was my comment.
That's
it
fine.
It related.
No, Pep was there for morale. It's his name of Pep. He's peppy.
That was cute.
God.
Okay, so throughout it... Okay, we're about to get back into...
Of course.
No, this next one's a little sassy. So, throughout his years, Eastern State housed some famous criminals. Notorious gangster Scarface Al Capone spent 2 months there. He was released early for good behavior. Also, he was able to be super bougie in his cell.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
An article in the Philadelphia Public Ledger from August 20th, 1929 describes his cell as, quote, "The whole room was suffused in a glow of desk lamp which stood on a polished desk. On the once grim walls of the penal chamber hung tasteful paintings, and the strains of a waltz were being emitted by a powerful cabinet radio receiver of the handsome design and fine finish."
So, I read that article
Yeah.
in my research on Chicago, and I was like, I'm gonna leave it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's great. Also, second comment, I also have a penal chamber. As in, a chamber in which
Just broken the door.
Mavis was like, and that is too far!
Okay, they just broke in.
Maybe.
Catherine's guys just broke in because I screamed.
Catherine's face reminded me of my grandmother.
My gas was very, very old lady.
The cat's broken.
Nina's like, oh, are you okay?
Colin!
It's okay, baby.
Colin!
He's dead.
Colin! Come get the cats out. They just broke in.
What?
They broke in.
I may
They
have,
got the door open.
I may have made a,
I don't know. We were talking about penal chambers, like in the Eastern State Penitentiary, and Bree goes, "I also have a penal chamber," and I gasped like a nana.
I fucking noted that it was a chamber in which...
I think they're gone.
No, they're under the bed. They are plotting. They literally broke down the door, and they both go.
Penal chambers?
The girls get me. They get me.
Kittens.
They are plotting their attack. Okay, well.
Please keep that in.
The penal chamber comment, of course I'm leaving that in.
I'm gonna cackle again whenever I listen to it. Okay.
We may
Babe.
not want to tag Aaron Mankey in
Babe,
this.
we got a video of Nita howling, looking at the camera.
Oh no, I didn't get a video. I just got pictures.
Good girl.
She's like, what?
Because she can't see. And then she's like, oh wait, I like kisses.
Oh wait,
The audacity.
you bitch. Okay, so bank robber Slick Willie Sutton
Ooh.
spent some time there.
His name is Slick Willie.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
He's trying to slip a Slick Willie in the penal chamber.
Those are all the correct terms for what we're talking about. That's embarrassing.
I
That
can't make this up.
Slick
Don't
Willie.
blame me. I'm working with what I got here.
Slick Willie.
Hey,
Yep.
that's what I do. I work with what they give me.
Slick
So,
They give me that too.
Brianna.
I haven't even gotten through the next third of my drink. This is just me.
granted, this drink is
This
strong.
is me. Look out, cause you're a
Yeah.
I love that movie unashamedly.
Yes.
so good.
Yep. Also Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Hey. Mm-hmm.
So Josh.
Zac Efron.
Thank you.
Yep. Him
Yep.
too.
And Zendaya.
Yes.
Zendaya is so hot.
Yo.
She's literally one of the most beautiful people who's ever lived.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway, so Slick Willie Sutton. Sorry, I was
Too
gonna
easy.
call him Sutton from now on.
Make it too easy, man.
So he was part of an escape on April 3rd, 1945, with 11 other inmates through a tunnel that took about a year for them to dig.
Oh, Slick Willie in the tunnel.
He slithered his way in there.
As a Slytherin, I don't appreciate
I was
that.
about to say he slithered in, Carrie.
I'm married.
Oh, Olive found a toy.
Anyway, so continuing on with that same story, because I'm only about halfway through.
5 hours later.
Where are the ghosts?
Look. Fucking
Did you hear that? Olive, the cats broke in. Colin shut the door behind them. And now Olive is playing with her toy and the door stopped.
And so when Catherine asked, where are the ghosts?
Yeah.
She went,
They're here.
I'm getting to the ghost. We have to stop making dick jokes.
Never.
Where are the ghosts at?
They're there, clearly. Okay, so continuing with this escape on April 3rd, Clarence Kleindienst was the mastermind behind the tunnel, and he only had a few months left. Stop it.
I didn't say anything.
Both of y'all.
He climbed it.
The mastermind.
I blame you.
Stop
You
now.
made the drink.
And
What
you-
do you expect?
You wrote this
from
paragraph.
us?
What do you want us to
I literally, brought it back down to its bare necessities of the information I needed.
You brought it to bear?
He bared down.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not cutting any of this, just so you're both aware.
Anyway, he only had a few months left, but due to the escape attempt, he had 10 years added on.
Oof.
That sucks.
Most were recaptured within...
because you tried to run.
Prisoner 246.
Oh my god.
My name is Jean Valjean. No! God, Russell Crowe sucks.
Yeah. Sorry, Russ.
You're a good actor. You just can't sing that style of music. Please
Don't sue us.
don't sue us. Your folk music's very good.
Yes. So most were recaptured within minutes of their escape. Sutton was recaptured and put into a secret solitary confinement known as the Klondikes or the Hole.
What would you do for a Klondike hole? What is it, Stronger? He's like, I'll do anything when the time's right. And
Well,
I'll
this...
do anything for a Blondike, and she'll do anything when the time's right. And when,
Well, this cell had no light, no toilet, little food, or fresh air. So I would not do a lot to get in there.
Me neither. How's there no toilet? That is not healthy.
Go pee in a
Shit in
corner.
the corner.
I told it, and then I'd die.
Yep. There is some irony in this story. So Sutton, as you remember, was initially convicted for bank robbery, and he would later appear in a commercial for a bank.
That is
Oh,
Hollywood.
Slippery Willy. You slick little sucker.
I keep thinking of, when you say Sutton, I keep thinking of Sutton Foster.
Yes,
who's
and I
an
love
absolute
her.
I know.
queen.
But if I said Slick Willie, I would not be able to get through that paragraph.
Liza.
Because her name is Liza and younger.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Broadway icons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was after that breakout in 1945 that the Pennsylvania legislature recommended abandoning Eastern State Penitentiary. Obviously, they did not shut it down. A major riot that lasted for hours in 1961 was the beginning of the end for the penitentiary. After considering the growth of the area and the deteriorating conditions of the prison, they officially closed their doors in 1970, but it was still used
To the living.
for the living through the following year.
And then the ghost.
Throughout its history, there have been countless stories of inmates dying from suicide, madness, disease, murder, and torture.
Jesus.
So, hella
All those-
death.
All those are bad options.
Yes.
I want none of those on my tombstone tree thing.
Well, now it's a museum.
I thought she was going to say, like, well, now it's too late. It's going to be on there. And I was like, well, fuck, Carrie.
You just list them all.
No, I'm just pushing on through my...
I've actually never been in there. I've
We're
just
going.
been outside. Oh, I would love to go.
During the Halloween season, Eastern State Penitentiary is a horror attraction called Terror Behind the Walls.
Oh, my God. That sounds like some... Oh, what was his name? Fuck, he hit him in the walls.
Over? Edgar Allan Poe?
No.
That's what I was
I didn't
thinking.
even talk about Poe House. No.
I used to go. We would go. We'd do Dickens of a Christmas, and everyone
Aw.
would do Dickens, and then we'd go do Edgar Allan Poe stuff at Halloween, and we'd go on our field trips in my English classes.
Aw.
It was on my list and I forgot.
This one performer did Hot Frog, and it was so terrifying. It was
Ooh.
amazing.
No, I meant the serial killer who would bury people in the walls and shit.
It meant there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Wayne Gacy was the cross
It wasn't
base.
Gacy. It was the Disturbia. Who's Disturbia based on?
The Cask of Amontillado.
Oh my God, yes. Didn't you call it the cask that one episode?
Yeah.
No, you called it
Of amaretto.
The cask of amaretto, and I was like, yes, I
Can we
respect
write
the
a
fuck out of
spoof?
this.
That would be
Please,
amazing.
please. Okay.
Well, I couldn't remember the name of it, so I just didn't say anything. I was like, the cask of...
Avocados.
The cask of avocados. I do love avocados.
Oh,
I like all those things.
damn, but a cask of avocados? Like, damn, that makes so much guac.
Oh my God.
Yes. And
Okay.
then we'd have to have the margaritas to go with the guac. Okay, continue.
You know I'm gonna provide. Okay, so it appeared in the 2008 Top 10 Haunted Places in Time magazine.
Woo.
TV shows like Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters and Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures have done investigations there. However, in an NPR interview, tour guide Ben Bookman, not tour guide like us, but tour guide of the penitentiary,
A real one. You
Yeah.
can actually go places.
yeah,
Quote.
said, quote, most
Right.
people making TV shows come in looking for ghosts. That's not the story we tell. Inmates were real people. These were people's lives. 70,000 people spent time here. We're not
Wow.
going to glorify it, and we're not going to make fun of it.
That's wonderful.
So that's their quote regarding the ghosts there.
So definitely
People-
not like us.
Well, no, I mean, it's like people coming in and like trying to make light of the ghosts, which of
Yeah.
course we're drinking and...
I don't know. I feel like we're still pretty respectful to these things.
We also
Unless-
recognize, especially the victims. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's not, so we make light of shit so that, because it's dark shit that we are
Right.
addressing.
And we make light of like
Penis
lore
jokes.
things that
yeah.
aren't
Oh, yeah, we make-
necessarily real
Yeah.
people, but
Yeah.
that's why my section's always the least silly
yeah.
because it has to be because these are people who were murdered.
Oh, yeah.
Except in Rome when that bitch poisoned everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yes, queen, yes.
That was so long
Perfect your
ago, it
craft.
doesn't
Oh
count.
my gosh, that was like 2 months ago.
I was talking about in Rome. Each of
I
them.
know. Well, I mean, but like we recorded that like just
14 episodes ago. Some shit like that.
damn. Okay. That seems like yesterday.
One in Rome.
Well, we got Liddy Titty Online. Okay, so anyway.
Much like the Romans.
Yeah. So being the most respectful as we can be talking about these ghosts, there are no specific ghosts of like...
Oh, so we can say whatever we want.
Yeah, so it's like there's no specific person, but there are common ghost experiences like footsteps around the yard, sounds of people pacing in cells, some eerie noises and moans that linger in dark corridors.
Slick Willy.
He didn't die there. He got
came
out
back.
to go make a commercial for a bank.
That's incredible. I love that.
So, Cell Block 6, one of the original ones.
Pop.
I was about to say Tango.
6. Squish.
Carrie literally waited for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I am the one thing in life I can control. Best line in the whole show. I am inimitable. I am an original.
Yes.
Best line.
Okay, we good? Okay.
Oh no.
Cell Block 6 is said to have shadow figures that dart around.
Ooh.
So it's one of the more famous ones. Cell Block 12 has become famous for disembodied laughter.
That's fucking creepy as shit.
Disembodied anything makes me uncomfortable.
But like, imagine being in a dark hallway and just hearing...
Bitch, I would cut a hoe. I would cut
There's
the
no
nearest.
hoe to cut.
I would cut the nearest motherfucker. So help me God.
Disembodied.
It's a spirit, dude!
I would cut the nearest living motherfucker.
That's not fair.
I know, but
It's not
don't
their
freak me
laughter.
out like that.
It's probably not them doing it!
I know.
And one of its guard towers appears to have a shadow figure watching over the prison.
Oof.
Considering how bad the guards were, that's even more
I think I'd probably be
terrifying.
more concerned about the guards than the prisoners.
Yeah.
Especially because that one guy was in there because he stole a goddamn watch. Like,
Right.
really?
Right.
But,
And I
yeah,
know-
the very first prisoner.
I know $20 was a lot of money back then, but it is not enough to put someone in solitary
Well,
confinement
also-
for 2 years. It is not.
If you remember, he was black.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
well,
so-
that explains it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that, yeah. So, one of the most notable stories, and this is actually the story that I remembered from, like, hearing it in other podcasts, hearing other things.
Uh-huh.
So, it's from the 1990s when Gary Johnson, who helped maintain the locks in the prison, some called him just like a locksmith or...
Not like, I'm Gary Johnson.
No.
That's not his name. What is it?
No.
Coleman.
This is not Avenue Q. Although I did make a Schadenfreude joke in one of my classes today.
Schadenfreude.
Did they understand?
No, because there were 6th graders.
Sixth graders don't even understand anything besides how to tie their shoes.
Well, and like one was like, why is it called a funny bone if it hurts? And I was like, because it's funny to us. You're in pain because of your own stupid doings. It's Schadenfreude. And they're like, what? And I was like, it's German. It means happiness at the misfortune of others. And they're like,
That is German.
what? I was like, y'all don't understand, but I'm hilarious. So, Gary Johnson opened the old lock in cell block 4. He said that a force gripped him so tightly that he was unable to move, and said that a horrible negative energy burst from the cell. He saw tormented faces appear on cell walls, and one form in particular beckoned to him.
Oh, nope. Nope.
And on that note, boom, Eastern State Penitentiary.
Nice. We're going to talk about another Gary. A Gary that deserves to have all those horrors put on him.
Oh, Gary Johnson did not.
No, Gary Johnson did not, but
just a
Gary
nice man
Michael
managing
Heidnick did. Now, this is, like, I don't know why this hit me so hard. Maybe just because it's, like, my home, you know, and it's recent. Well, not, like, super recent, but fairly recent, and it's just, like, horrifying. So, we're going to talk about Gary Heidnick. He was born in November 22nd, and so this is just a trend I've noticed. So my birthday is November 28th, which I know I was supposed to say, but I did already. All of these serial killers are born in November 20s. And I don't know why, and it's starting to freak me out. But they all are Sagittarius. And I'm
There's
like,
a lot
guys,
of Gemini serial killers.
Carrie sent us the fucking thing one time.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm a
Because
Gemini.
as a Gemini...
Cancer wasn't on there at all. What?
However, shout out to, and that's why we drink, because since we're announcing birthdays, I'm June 2. I can't remember which one is June 3 and then one of them is June 4. So I'm like, clearly something's in the water of, like, studying this shit.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this guy was born on November 22nd, 1943, and he died in 1999. So, like, fairly recent. Like, I was alive and living in Philly,
Yeah.
which to me is Horrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So he was a murderer. I'm going to say he only, quote, killed 2 women, unquote. So, like, as far as body count goes, that's not as much. And I think the women he killed may have been more accidental. And to me, that somehow makes this worse. So he was convicted of torturing and raping 6 women, killing 2 of them, while holding them prisoner in a pit in his basement.
Ugh.
How Buffalo, what's his face from Silence
Buffalo
of the Lambs
Bill
of
is
him.
based off of him.
I did not know that, but I
Yes.
just called that shit. Okay.
Yes, and he was sentenced to death and executed by lethal injection in 1999. He's one of the last people to be executed in the state of Pennsylvania.
Should have drawn and quartered him.
So he's from Ohio. He was 55 when he was killed by lethal injection. One of his nicknames was Brother Bishop.
Okay.
Why does that sound familiar in a hella creepy way?
Because there's quite a bit of pop culture based off of him because he is nuts. Okay, so his conviction is for first-degree murder. He has 3 daughters, and he has an ex-wife that actually, his daughter and his ex-wife actually petitioned to get him taken off death row. Not to get taken out of jail, but taken off death row because they said he has to be insane. But he was ruled... Like, his insanity, he was ruled competent, and I think he was. And we'll talk about it and why he was Brother Bishop. So, he was raised in Ohio. He had a little brother. His parents got divorced, and he was raised by his mom, and then they were put into care of his dad and his new wife. So, he had, quote, 2 parents, which back in the 40s and 50s, that was all that really mattered, even if it was not healthy. And he claimed that his father was emotionally abusive. Which his dad's like, bro, no, I wasn't. He's like, this kid's just crazy. So I don't know. He had bedwetting, which is this isn't really like true anymore. Like they've kind of just proven the theory of animal torture, bedwetting, and starting fires. But like animal cruelty is a pretty good sign that you're gonna be a serial killer still.
Right.
So I don't know. So bedwetting, and his father would humiliate him by forcing him to hang his bed sheets from his bedroom window so that the neighbors could see, which definitely is a form of torture, but his dad said this never happened, so I don't know. And after his arrest, his dad denied the abuse completely, saying that this was not what he did, and his son just always had dark interests. So at school, he wouldn't talk to his other classmates, didn't make eye contact. One time, well-meaning like new student, she came in and she asked like if he got the homework done. He yelled at her that she wasn't worthy enough to talk to him.
Whoa.
So he like freaked out, had issues with women right away. Like she was a new student, she's like, hey, did you do the homework? And he's like, you're not worthy to talk to me. And she was like, what the fuck? Yeah. And so that was in like middle school.
Granted, I could see some of my little asshole kids.
Yeah, we should worry about them too. So
I do.
He was teased about his oddly shaped head, which he and his parents claimed were a result of him falling out of a tree when he was younger.
Brain damage.
So he performed really well academically. His IQ was 148, which is way above average.
Yeah.
So he was really intelligent. His dad encouraged him to go to a military academy in Virginia at 14, and he was there for 2 years, but he left before he graduated, and he dropped out to join the U.S. Army when he was 17. So this is like a pretty prestigious school, and like he was encouraged by his father like to go for academics, but he dropped out, and he dropped out of high school to join the Army, but he eventually gets his GED. GRE is grad school.
Yeah, the test you have to. Well,
oh God,
you don't even have to take
that
it
was so
for
long
most of
ago
them
when I took
anymore.
that. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so he went to the Army. He served for 13 months. He did really well during basic training. He applied to be a specialist for military police, and he was rejected. He was sent to San Antonio, Texas, to be a medic. He did really well through medical training, but he didn't stay very long. Was transferred to West Germany to work in a hospital. Because, like I said, he's really smart, but he just can't seem to have interest in anything, so he bounces around a lot. His new posting, he earned his GED in Germany, and in 1962, he began complaining of severe headaches, dizziness, blurred vision, and nausea. A neurologist diagnosed him with gastroenteritis and noted that he displayed several symptoms of mental illness, and he was prescribed basically an antipsychotic medication, and he was transferred to a military hospital in Philadelphia. He was diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder and honorably discharged. So, in the military, if you have any sort of mental health... And schizoid personality disorder is not like schizophrenia. It's like a different thing.
Right.
And from what I can tell, he had mental health issues, but was prescribed treatment. And just because you have mental health issues does not mean that you can plead insanity. That's not how this works.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think he tries to use this later, and it just doesn't work because they're like, no, you understand what's going on. Lots of people have mental illness. That doesn't give you an excuse to murder people. Sorry.
Right.
So he's discharged, and like I said, they honorably discharged him. They had no evidence that he was doing anything illegal. Like, for them, it was an illness that he was getting treated for. He became a licensed practical nurse and enrolled in the University of Pennsylvania, which is where my cousin is right now, studying pre-med actually. But he dropped out after a semester. Like I said, can't keep his interest. He worked at a veterans hospital in Coatesville, which is like, I have family there. I think my mom's first school that she taught him was in Coatesville. Ooh. He was fired for poor attendance and rude behavior towards patients. So again, no people skills. Mm-hmm. He spent time in and out of psychiatric hospitals, and he had attempted suicide at least 13 times. Ooh. So he's clearly troubled. I am not saying that he is not. I'm not saying that he does not have an illness that needs to be treated, but I do not think that those two things are correlated in his case.
Right.
And I'll explain why. His mom was diagnosed with bone cancer, and she was also an alcoholic, and she committed suicide by drinking mercuric acid.
Jesus.
Yeah, but she was diagnosed with bone cancer and obviously was really failing, and she committed suicide. And his brother also spent time in mental institutions and had attempted suicide multiple times. So there's obviously genetic predisposition for mental health issues in this family. I don't know if mom, it was based off of mental health, or if she was just in an excruciating amount of pain and wanted to end things on her own terms.
Right.
Those are very different things. Mm-hmm. So I don't know which one it is, but his brother also struggled with mental health issues. But his brother never became a rapist and a kidnapper and a murderer, so, there's that.
Yeah.
In October of 1971, he created a church called the United Church of the Ministers of God.
It's a cult.
Well, he doesn't really practice in the church. It only had 5 followers, and he opened a bank account with a deposit of $1,500, which was his Army discharge money.
Yeah.
But he created a fake church so that he wouldn't have to pay taxes, and he gets over $500,000, which today is over $1 million, just based off of investments he did with that money, and he registered it as a church. That right there is why his lawyer's like, this guy is not insane to the point where he doesn't know what's going on. He clearly knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, in 1986, the United Church of the Ministers of God was thriving and wealthy. But there's only like 5 people, and it was just people who were like, hey, will you say you're part of my church so I can make all this money? And so that's why they called him Brother Bishop, because he literally was technically a minister in a church. But he was just using it for tax write-offs, which is something you can do in America, which is
America
very interesting.
We're number 1 in tax fraud.
He used this says a matrimonial service, but literally he mail ordered a bride.
Ooh.
They dated online, not online, by mail for 2 years, and they proposed to her. She was from the Philippines until she moved in '85 to America. And within, a month, they were done.
I was going to say, is this the wife that fought to get him off of death row?
Yeah. She found him in bed with 3 other women. I don't know if that's at once, but I would like to think so. And so, over their brief marriage, he did sexually assault her. He forced her to watch while he had sex with other women, which, if that's part of your marriage, that's one thing. Right. She did not want this.
No.
She did not want this, and she was forced to do it, and it was basically torture, psychological torture. Mm-hmm. He also raped her and assaulted her. But the Filipino community in Philadelphia, like I said, really strong communities in Philly.
Sorry, I would like to know, for those of you who think this isn't possible, you can rape your spouse. This is a thing that happens and can happen. And just because you are married does not mean that you are guaranteed sex or owed sex. Rape is still a thing within marriage.
1000%.
And dating. I mean, regardless of your relationship status.
You don't know anybody.
Done. Sorry. Oh, she left. The Filipino community, rescued her, essentially, and because, she's in a country where she doesn't know anyone.
Yeah.
That community helped her. She left and she was actually pregnant.
Oh.
When she left and she requested child support payments, and they had a son, and she named it with her last name, like her son, and kept them completely separate. So she really did the best for her child. He also had a son with a woman named Gail Lincow. That child was put in foster care right after he was born, which the foster care system has its issues, but I think this child may have stood a better chance. And Heidnik had a third child with another woman named Anjanette Davidson, and this is what really bothered me, so I'm going to warn people. She was illiterate and mentally disabled.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she literally was a special needs woman who he raped. Yeah.
I thought you were saying the child.
No.
Shit.
So which is like a real thing, and it's like an actual problem. Is most like special needs children and adults are like 5 times more likely to get sexually assaulted, and it's horrifying. I just made up that number, but it's like a significant increase. So their daughter Maxine was born and immediately placed in foster care. Heidnik was arrested for the kidnapping and rape of that girlfriend's sister Alberta, and she was living in an institution for the mentally disabled. So both these sisters were mentally handicapped. He had a baby with one, and then he went into a facility for mentally handicapped adults and checked out his like girlfriend's sister, saying he was going to take her like on a day trip, and then he imprisoned her and locked her in a storage room in his basement.
Son of a bitch.
And repeatedly raped her. So after she was found and returned to the hospital, examination revealed that she had been raped and sodomized, and that she had contracted gonorrhea.
Oh, no.
But he was arrested and charged with kidnapping, rape, unlawful restraint, false imprisonment, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, and in feeling with the custody of a committed person.
So why was he not locked up for the rest of his life with all of these fucking crimes? Like,
the original sentence was
motherfuckers.
overturned on appeal.
Sons of bitches.
So he only spent 3 years of his incarceration, and that was mostly in mental institutions. And then he was released in April of '83 under supervision and state-sanctioned mental health program. So he weaseled it out to be like, I thought we were in love or some bullshit, and he was able to get out.
So I did look up the statistic. Mentally handicapped people are twice as likely.
Twice, yeah. Which that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's already fucking awful.
Because if you think about how many
Yep.
quote-unquote normal people.
Yeah.
It's insane.
In '86, he was arrested again and charged with sexual assault of spousal rape, which, good for her for standing up for herself.
Fuck yeah.
And then on November 25th in 1986, this is after his wife left, Heidnik abducted a woman named Josephina Rivera. And in '87, he kidnapped another 4 women whom he held captive in a pit in his basement on North Marshall Street in North Philadelphia. The captives, who were all black women, which is really interesting because we've talked about there's normally not racial serial killers, but I think for him, because he didn't get off on killing them, he got off on raping them. So maybe this was like some sort of sexual preference. I don't know, but it is unique that all these women were black women, and so he kidnapped them, kept them in his basement, which literally had like a pit in the ground filled with water.
Oh.
Like he would keep them, yeah.
Oh.
So Sandra Lindsay died of a combination of starvation, torture, and an untreated fever. So she died basically because the poor woman couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And he dismembered her body.
Oh.
But he had problems cutting the arms and legs, so he put them in a freezer. Marked them dog food.
Oh.
They said that he cooked her ribs in the oven, boiled her head in the pot in the stove. Police came to the house due to the complaints of a bad odor, but left after he said, I was cooking a roast, I fell asleep and it burnt.
What a dick.
Yeah. So several sources state that he ground up the flesh of Lindsay, mixed it with dog food, and fed it to the other victims. So that forced cannibalism is something that they don't actually know, because his defense attorney said that they tested his Cuisinart, which, like, boy, you don't deserve Cuisinart. But they tested his kitchen tools and found no evidence, but this was also in the 80s, and I don't know how I believe that. But his defense attorney said that he made up that story to help support his insanity defense.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that's true. He said that the defense attorney said that he started the rumor of cannibalism in public, And in fact, there was no evidence of anyone eating human flesh. They don't know if he did do that or if he just made that up so he could try and get an insanity plea, which clearly proves he does not need an insanity plea.
Right.
Like, he knows those things that are going to make people very upset.
Right.
But he did definitely dismember her, and some of her pieces are definitely missing. So we don't know. We think he did cook at least part of her, but we don't know if he ate it or if he fed it to them or if he was just trying to get rid of evidence.
Right.
Both of which could be possible. So he used electric shock to torture his victims. Oh. At one point, he forced 3 of his captives bound in chains into the pit. He ordered Rivera, which is his first woman, who goes through severe Stockholm Syndrome and ends up being the one to save everyone, even though she was being held captive for a very long time and tortured beyond anything we can comprehend. So she's like an incredibly strong woman. Yeah. So they filled the hole with water. And then he forced Rivera to help him apply electric current from a stripped extension cord to the woman's change. Oh. So Deborah Dudley was killed during this electrocution torture. Heidnik disposed of her body in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. So again, I don't think he meant to kill her. It was a side effect of his torture, which is what he really enjoyed. Yeah. So in 1987, he abducted Jacqueline Askins, and she was the youngest victim. She was only 18 years old, but he was definitely interested in like adult women, not children. Yeah. There is a TV interview in 2018 and the special report called Gary Heidnik's House of Horrors 30 Years Later, and Askin stated that Heidnik wrapped duct tape around the mouths of victims and stabbed them in the ears with a screwdriver. So but like, this woman's still alive. She did this interview. Oh my gosh. I couldn't watch it right now. It's on my list, and I really wanted to watch it before this, but like I said, I was really bothered by this. Yeah. And these women are like talking about what happened to them, and they're so strong. Like, I couldn't watch it yet. I needed some time to process, but I bought it. It's also on YouTube, but like, that's how he was able to get them in there. And this is 30 years later, and this woman's incredibly strong to talk about it. Yeah. I can't even read about it, so she's incredible. So in 1987, Heidnik and Rivera abducted Agnes Adams, and this is the last victim that he would kidnap, the 6th victim. And he would force Rivera to help because she was a woman and more people trusted her. But the next day, Rivera convinced Heidnik to let her go temporarily in order to visit her family. So she was like, just let me go see my parents, like, let them know that they're okay. And she was obviously suffering the effects of Stockholm Syndrome as a way to stay alive. She was doing everything she could to save herself. Yeah. And that's why she was forced to kidnap other women. Clearly, this was not her doing. And she played him, and he let her go. He drove her to a gas station and said he'd wait there for her. She walked a block away and called 911. Good. Yeah. So literally, the first chance she got, she acted. And like, how scared she must have been. Mm-hmm. Like, this man is repeatedly raping and torturing them and has killed and dismembered 2 other women in front of her. Like, so the responding officers noticed the chafing on her legs, went to the gas station and arrested him right away. His purported best friend, Tony Brown, was also arrested, and he was released on bail in agreement that he would testify against Heidnik. Brown admitted to witnessing Lindsay's death in the basement and Heidnik dismembering her. And then when he was in jail, Heidnik attempted to hang himself in his jail cell. So, like, his friends saw him murder these people, and they were able to get his testimony. Mm-hmm. But, like, he literally saw him torturing and killing and dismembering women and didn't call the cops. Yeah. And this woman who was being tortured literally played him so well that she was able to save herself and the other remaining women. Right. Like, wow. In the arraignment, he claimed that the women were already in the house when he moved in. That was his defense, that these women were chained up in the basement. He's like, ooh, a move-in special. Like, what the? I can't even. Right? What? I hate him. So he was defended by Charles Pareto Jr., who attempted to prove that he was legally insane. Heidnik's insanity was successfully rebutted by the prosecution, led by Charles Gallagher III. And that basically he's like, do you see how much money he has and all these accounts? He's not insane. He literally has a financial advisor from Merrill Lynch who he would go to and make appropriate investments for his church that he used for tax evasion.
And Merrill Lynch is the financial advisor you want to have.
And like, so Merrill, so on the stand, his financial advisor, Robert Kirkpatrick, is like, no, this guy clearly knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Kirkpatrick called him an astute investor who knew exactly what he was doing. So he was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death and incarcerated at the State Correctional Institution at Pittsburgh. He attempted suicide with an overdose of his prescribed medication because he is on medication still for mental health issues. So he tried to overdose on that. He tried to hang himself. He knew he was caught. His daughter and his ex-wife filed suit in the federal court seeking a stay of execution on the basis that Heidig was not in fact competent to be executed. There was 2 years of legal proceedings, various courts, but in 1999, they issued the final ruling clearing the way for his execution. He was executed by lethal injection in 1999. His body was cremated. As of 2020, he's the last person to be executed by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He remains the third of only 3 people to be executed in Pennsylvania since the resumption of the death penalty. So they made it legal again in 1995, but there was only... No. There was only two people in 1995 and then him in 1999, and they're the only people. So these are the women who both survived and didn't survive. So Josefina Rivera, who was that first woman, she was 25, and she was kidnapped right after his birthday in 1986, and she is the one who was able to save everyone. Sandra Lindsay, and she was killed in several months afterwards. Lisa Thomas, Deborah Dudley, and she was murdered several months afterwards. Jacqueline Askins, and then Agnes Adams, who was rescued the same day that she was kidnapped because of the bravery of Josefina Rivera.
Wow.
And so he's one of the 6 real-life murderers upon which Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lamb is based on, and there's a couple of screamo bands that have songs based off of them. Also, there's a movie called The Factory, made from 2012, that's based off of him.
Okay.
So he was not a serial murderer in the way that I do a lot of serial murderers.
Yeah.
I would classify him as a serial rapist.
Yeah.
More so than a serial killer. But I think it's really important to talk about him. The fact that he said that they were in the building, I was enraged. I cannot. But these women did what they needed to survive, and I just can't imagine the bravery and, the strength that they have. So watch that documentary if you can. Like I said, it's on my list, but I was really affected by this, so I have not watched it yet. And in even more recent news, so the police made a statement recently denying the fact that there's an active serial killer in Philadelphia that they have wind of, but there have been 3 bodies recently found in containers around Philadelphia.
Ooh.
One in a suitcase, one in a Tupperware container, and then another one that they found in, I think it was storage boxes, found on the side of roads.
A Tupperware container?
Yeah, girl, like a storage bin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and one in a suitcase. And
That's
so,
like Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Seattle.
And so obviously, I think they were all women. These women were obviously met with foul play, and the police are not denying that. But as of right now, they are denying that they are connected. But there's a lot of Redditors who think that they are connected because they're female bodies found within 3 months of each other, all visibly placed in suitcases, or in containers. So not just bodies out, but in containers.
And it's not a garbage bag or some shit.
No, and it's in public places.
Yeah.
So someone was like, "What is the suitcase doing here?" And opened it up, and there was a body inside. So there may be more developments on that. Philadelphia is a massive city, so it wouldn't surprise me if there is a serial killer. It may not be that one, but there's always a handful of active serial killers working at all times.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's a pathology that is extraordinarily rare, but it's hard for them not to do what they're doing. So until they're caught or dead or incarcerated for something else, they're going to be actively serial killing.
Well, and I wish we could do more with the signs.
Preventative measures.
Yeah. Because,
well, it's so hard. You can't be oh, you have these signs, which mean, I don't know. I guess I want to give people a chance.
Well,
I wish we took beginning assaults more
Right.
seriously. You can't look at a kid and be oh, we should lock you up because you may be a serial killer.
Well,
but if
being
that kid
able to work with that age group, I mean, there are some that I would like to keep an eye on just to make sure that some of their current behaviors don't evolve into more things.
You know what? I don't know. I feel like if we took assaults, especially, not all the time, but assaults on women and assaults on animals, especially at young ages. I'm not saying that there aren't serial killers who attack men, and I'm not saying that every single dirtbag who hits their wife is going to be a serial killer, but I wish we took those more seriously and like rape and sexual assault more seriously.
Right.
Because there hasn't been a serial killer that I've researched ever that just randomly one day was a serial killer.
Right.
Like, there are always violence in their backgrounds that if you can't ignore violence like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just boys being boys. And the few female serial killers also had violence in their background, which is even more rare for women. So if you see, like, an extremely aggressive person, regardless of male or female, if they're overly violent and you get that vibe, you have to keep an eye on that, because people aren't, like, not all people are like that. And it's not like someone gets mad, they catch their spouse cheating and they shoot them. Like, that's different than serial killers who, like, do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell if someone's angry when they do something or if someone's enjoying it when they do something. And those are the ones you really gotta watch out for.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why. I think because these women are still alive.
Yeah.
And, like...
They're survivors.
Yeah. And, like, just hearing, like, their accounts. Like, it's sad enough hearing the accounts of, like, family members and things, but like hearing their accounts, like I watched a Elizabeth Smart documentary when I was younger, and it stayed with me so long. Like, I don't know how these people can do that, but they're absolutely incredible. So yeah, some really strong women who won, and I feel like they won even for the two victims. Like they got out, which as a woman I can only assume that they would have wanted for each other. So,
right.
Yeah, that's Gary Heidnik, and he died in 1999, and it's like crazy to think I was like living in Philadelphia in 1999, and he was executed. Like, I was obviously too little. I was 7, but like still, it's like it's wild. So that's Gary Heidnik, and I hate him. And
let the fucker rot in hell.
Yeah.
Well,
in the good place and the bad place, you know, when they're like electrocuting people in pits. That's him now. Tasted his own medicine.
Good.
Yeah. So that's Philly.
Yep. Well, we hope you enjoyed your tour of Philadelphia. Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Follow us on Instagram at Darkside Tour Guides and on Twitter at Darkside Guides. Give us a like on Facebook at Darkside Tour Guides. Visit the blog at darksidetourguide.wordpress.com or email us at darksidetourguides@gmail.com.